Welcome into Stacking the Box right here. Sterling Holmes live in New Orleans. Final day for me on Radio Row. And what a day it is. Beautiful days down here in New Orleans. Weather is 70 and beautiful. Really foggy. 70 and humid. But if we're being transparent, I think it's a little better than the 30 degrees back home in Kansas City. A lot of great guests we will be having on today in this final edition. We'll be having Lorenzo Neal, Bobby Okereke, Ryan Kalil, the former center, Verderam going to join us for a little bit, Bijan Robinson, Emmitt Smith, Brian Westbrook, Will Anderson. We have a jam-packed show. But we're going to be joined by Malcom in just a little bit, doing some unified coverage with Special Olympics. Malcom and myself, we were down live on the NFL Honors red carpet last night, and it was a very fun evening, a tight evening. A lot of folks packed in, getting some questions in, and quite frankly, Malcom did such a great job. I think some of my favorite quotes, I made sure I actually put them down on my phone because Malcom did such a great job with some of these fun ones here. I know a lot of Chiefs fans are intrigued and listen to this show as well. And JT Gray plays for the Saints. Malcom asked him, who was the most athletic player in the NFL? I'll give you guys a second. If I tell you it's a defensive tackle, it's Colin Saunders. JT Gray said Colin Saunders, the large man who can also do a backflip. I asked JT if he could still do a backflip, and he said, I don't know about that anymore. But Colin Saunders, and if you're a Chiefs fan, I think you understand what he brought. The athleticism that is off the charts. And we did find it very funny. When you're on the red carpet here, you are being inundated with questions coming from media on both sides of you. And what a lot of these people do is they have a handler in front. And they'll be walking with a sign in front of them, letting people know this is so-and-so, this is who they are. Well, the best part was Barry Sanders made sure he hit that sign so you couldn't see. And he made sure there were people in front of him like blockers. And he slithered through. And by the time people realized that was Barry Sanders, he was already gone. And it left me thinking, man, Barry still got it. Barry Sanders still finding the hole, finding ways to slither through. I thought that was just a very funny little tidbit from the Red Honors night. Again, a couple more things I wanted to get to that I thought were pretty interesting from the NFL Honors on the red carpet. One, Terry Crews singing the song in White Chicks. That was a nice touch. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Terry. But one question that Malcom and we were asking here on the unified coverage, one rule change. If you could make one rule change to the NFL rule book, what would it be? So here's some great players and their thoughts. Peanut Tillman said make OPI and DPI the same. Wild that a defensive back wants to penalize OPI a little more. I'm actually with him. Steve Mariucci, if the offense fumbles the ball out of bounds in the end zone, the offense still keeps it. For example, goes out at the 1, we always know the offense keeps it. Goes out through the back of the end zone or to the side of the end zone, it's a touchback for the defense. He wants that rule changed. Steve, I disagree, but Rich Eisen said the same thing. So the fact that I disagree with Steve Mariucci and Rick Eisen, not a great sign. Not a great sign. Taylor Rooks said, take away excessive celebration penalties, and believe it or not, George Kittle said the same thing. Who would have thought that George Kittle wanted to take away excessive celebration penalties? That's right, Hunter. Just for you, San Fran right there. George Kittle, take away taunting penalties. Kittle likes to taunt. Everyone knows this. It's not Travis. Can't even say that with a straight face. It's the tight ends. Tight ends like to taunt. take it away. Ron Rivera said, take a look at pass interference and figure it out. Riverboat Ron on the red carpet. Sean Alexander said, running back contracts will no longer count towards the salary cap. That's the rule change Sean Alexander wants. What's interesting is, of course, the cornerbacks want offensive PI called. Running backs just say don't make the contracts count towards the salary cap. And then, of course, the guys who taunt, like George Kittle, wants that taken away. But a fun one. Jeff Ross, the comedian Jeff Ross, was on the red carpet. I asked him to roast me. I said, roast me, Jeff. He said, no, you're perfect. I don't know how to take that. Don't laugh. Don't laugh, boys. Hunter says that means he must not be that good of a comedian. I just think that he just saw this and said, how could I possibly roast that? Can't roast it. It's perfectly cooked. All right. A lot of guests coming your way today. Final day on Radio Row here in New Orleans. Food was great last night. Crushed some jambalaya gumbo, crawfish etouffee, and more. Hurricane was delicious. Casino was not great, but the vibes are still immaculate. Let's get into the game here just a little bit. When it comes down to it, the talking points, the thought processes, they're all the same. I want to take away the generic talk. Let's take away the turnover battle, because that is of course, whoever wins the turnover battle more than likely is going to win this game. We don't need to talk about that. That's silly. But I do want to talk about something that's a little under the radar. And maybe Philly fans are actually talking about this more. That's the kicking game. Jake Elliott has been wildly inconsistent all season long. Extra points have not been a guarantee. While, yes, Harrison Butker is a few games removed, or at least back from injury, I trust Harrison Butker in the playoffs or when the game is on the line more than any kicker in the NFL. I don't think Eagles fans can say the same thing about Jake Elliott. So what it comes down to, in my opinion, the Chiefs have a fairly sizable advantage when it comes to special teams. When it comes to the quarterback play, if we're going advantages and you know, who has the edge here? Mahomes over Jalen Hurts. While, yeah, of course, Saquon has the edge over the running attack that Kansas City possesses, is that enough to give him over the hump? Is that enough to outweigh the rest of the advantages that the Chiefs have? Because when you look at the wide receiver room, I know it's easy to say, well, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, they are great players. I am not taking anything away from those two guys. But it's a fairly steep drop-off after 1 and 2. The Chiefs have a plethora. That room is loaded with talent. While, yes, they don't have anyone as highly touted as A.J. Brown, they do have Hollywood Brown, who's back and looking really good post-injury, having a nice connection with Patrick Mahomes. You do have Xavier Worthy, who has broken onto the scene and has been phenomenal, especially as a rookie. You have, a playmaking veteran and a really good blocker in Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, a phenomenal blocker, and was able to have 2 extremely explosive, yackable plays just a week and a half prior. And then you have the Justin Watson and DeAndre Hopkins factor. D-Hop has done hardly anything since, the Buccaneers game weeks and weeks ago. But DeAndre Hopkins still is forcing teams to account for him when he's on the field. The snap count, I don't think, is where a lot of Chiefs fans would like it to be. But I think there is a reason for that with the way that Xavier Worthy has been playing, and quite frankly, the occasional Juju and Justin snaps. So when a defense has this sticky zone coverage that the Eagles have, right? They play that sticky zone with Cooper and Quinyon and Darius Slay. DeAndre Hopkins should feast, especially against those younger guys, and maybe you see a higher snap count share in this game in particular. Because if they're playing tight coverage, tight man, sticky zone, however you want to break that down, you might be forced to throw a little more into tight windows. Do you want to throw into tight windows to a smaller guy or a guy with Johnny Benchian-sized hands who can bring hardly everything or almost everything down? So I think DeAndre Hopkins actually against the Eagles makes more sense than some of the other wide receivers the Chiefs possess. Again, we'll find out fairly early on if the Chiefs think the same way. I am doing this by myself on Radio Row, so if you see me stop for 5 seconds, that's a liquid break. It's a liquid break. No, Hunter, don't laugh. Don't laugh. I'm explaining. People have to know. But again, red carpet last night, a lot of fun. I know there's been some talk about the illnesses and sicknesses that are ravishing the Eagles. Well, it's also ravishing the fan-sided crew as well. Not many last minute. The crew's fine. It's more or less the hosts. Yet someone had to power through and do this thing. You're looking at him. You're looking at him, Patrick. Ian. By the way, Ian paid his bet off last night. Here you go. Here you go, Richard. You can clip this so that way everyone on Stacking the Box in the future knows. Iain MacMillan, Ian McBets, finally paid off his bet. The double or nothing atrocity of a bet that he made. It was the easiest win in the history of bets. One, because I'm going against him, and that man is just, I'm sorry, Ian. Every time I've seen you bet, unlucky as hell. Paid it off last night. Gave me a crisp 100. Crisp is a strong word. I would say crumpled. I would say mildly used $100 bill. Played blackjack with it. And in typical Ian fashion, immediately lost it. I'm talking it was instantaneous. 4 hands, I think. I think it was 4 hands. 5. Got 1 push. On a 20. So Ian, that mildly used, semi-uncrisp $100 bill from the bet, it's gone already. Just like your chances you had to start the season, right when you made that bet, it was gone already. But I have to at least say, man of your word, you paid up, Ian. You paid up. And now he's blaming me for his sickness. Now Ian, I mean, who does that? Charmin Ultrasoft. Some say. Again, going to the list of guests for today, Bobby Okereke, Ryan Kalil, Verderam, Bijan Robinson, Emmitt Smith, back-to-back phenomenal RBs, Rodney McLeod Jr., Brian Westbrook. It's going to be a fun one. Going to be a fun one coming your way right here, live in New Orleans on Stacking the Box. I'm hoping Lorenzo Neal does come over because I found a very interesting aspect and question to ask him. Supposedly he was doing a little bit of sumo. He wrestled a sumo wrestler in Japan during the Japan Bowl, and I feel like I need to know about Lorenzo Neal doing a sumo wrestling competition in Japan. So I'm really hoping he comes over here. Okay, Hunter gave me that look that says, we'll see. Hey, doing what I can here, Hunter. Doing what I can here. But again, I think the Chiefs going back and circling back to the secondary versus the Chiefs' wide receiving room here. As great as Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell are and have been this year, what it comes down to is they're still rookies. I know once you've played 13 games, are you still a rookie? once you've made the playoffs and won multiple playoff games? Are you still a rookie? But if you're telling me Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo might look that way more than Darius Slay's way, I think they are. Do you try and go on Quinyon or Cooper? Do you try and run up some interesting, unique plays that maybe they have not seen before? Again, they've been great. No denying the talent and just productivity that those guys have. I mean, if you've heard me on Stacking the Box or Arrowhead Addict, I've talked perpetually about since they moved Cooper DeJean into the slot, that defense has really taken off. But when you have the veterans like D-Hop, Juju, Justin, Owen Hollywood Brown, the experience, I think, will ring true, especially when you have Patrick Mahomes throwing the rock. Now, maybe they put Xavier rookie on rookie. We'll see if we can see some rookie on rookie crime. But I don't want to count Jalen Carter into this rookie mix. I'm using it for Quinyon, Cooper. I'll use it for Xavier Worthy to an extent if you want me to for the Chiefs. But when it comes to Jalen Carter, I think that defensive line, especially on the interior, is just a little bit different. He's not moving around a lot. We did a whole bunch of research the other day, maybe actually been last week. This week runs together. Shockingly, New Orleans, time is just a figment of your imagination down here. It's like one long day. A week is a day. But may have been last week. We pulled the numbers here. Jalen Carter does not line up over the left guard. So for all the concerns about Carter, Caliendo, I don't know if they should be there because I don't think they're going to line up. Out of 700 or 900 or whatever the snap count was for Jalen Carter, it was less than 40 that he had lined up over the left guard or anywhere else basically outside of lining up over the right guard. So what I think you're really going to see here, unless the Eagles do something just that is strain from the norm for them, you're going to see Jalen Carter go up against Trey Smith. And that is going to be absolutely electric to watch. Two guys who are extremely athletic, ridiculous size, speed, physical combo. And we're going to see. Can Trey Smith get the better of one of the best rookies in all of football? That's a battle I'm looking at pretty intently here. So as far as Caliendo goes, I'm not saying don't be concerned at all. I'm just saying maybe don't be concerned about Jalen Carter and the 95% snap count share he gets over the right guard. Milton Williams is probably the guy you're looking at and trying to hope and see if you can contain him, because Milton Williams has been a little bit of a, I don't want to say a Chris Jones light, but he's moved around a lot. Inside, outside, left side, right side. Doesn't matter. I'm going to see if I can pull up Milton Williams' snap count share. We'll see what the internet's doing today. It's not as crowded yet here on Radio Row, so I'm hoping the internet will behave just a little bit here. So pulling up Milton Williams right here on PFF. We have the washing machine, okay? Have the washing machine here. And as this, oh no, you're good. I don't want to talk to you, Hunter. I mean, if you want to talk, you can. If you want to chill, Hunter, swing in if you want. Oh, I'll talk to Richard all day. That much you do know. I will talk to Richard nonstop. Milton Williams. Okay, so pulled up here. I'm going to get snap count and share in a second. Let me break down what he is, because I think Milton Williams is probably the X factor on the defensive line for the Eagles. No one's talking about him. People talk about Josh Sweat. People talk about Zach Bond. They talk about the secondary, which we have. And they talk about, obviously, Jalen Carter. But again, I think Milton Williams is the George Karlaftis, maybe, if you're going to throw it that way, of this Eagles defensive line. the underrated player who has done a really nice job moving around. He has 6 sacks, listed as an interior defensive lineman, but 6 sacks, good against the run. He has 28 hurries, 40 pressures. He has been a really good asset to this Eagles defensive line. His pass rush grade for Milton Williams is a 90.4. That is second in the NFL. Second pass rush grade for an interior defensive lineman in the entire NFL. But where he is susceptible, he doesn't really love stopping the run. 43.1 PFF grade, 167th out of interior defensive linemen. That is not what he likes to do. I know a lot of guys don't like to do that. But I think if you are Kansas City, that is a spot that you can maybe attack. Do you do that with a Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco? Do you try and really focus on running the football against a guy in Jalen Carter who also, like Milton Williams, great against getting after the quarterback, not as a willing of a run stopper? If that's the case, you might see a heavy dose of Kareem and Isaiah. Okay, finally, let me see if I can get into his snap count share for the year. They have D-line all together. Shockingly, I know he's not lined up in the slot. Lovely. Lovely PFF. 1 second here. Let me see if I can go to advanced PFF stats. And they just don't want me to know. They don't want me to know. They're just putting D-line all together. They're being a bunch of mean people, quite frankly. It's unbecoming of UPFF. All I wanted to know was where he lined up. All I wanted to know. So, point remains, he lines up all over the defensive line. Inside, outside, and I do think, in my opinion, it's not Jalen Carter as much you got to watch out and look out for. It's Milton Williams. This Eagles defense is a lot different than the defense we saw from them in 2022. While the 2022 defense was just loaded with an immense amount of talent on the defensive line, the linebacker room and the secondary was severely lacking. This defense is revamped. They're younger, yet they still have a lot of those same pieces that can get after the quarterback, just much improved in the secondary. Zach Bond was the piece that really took off. If you guys don't know about the story of Zach Bond, it is a wild one. Defensive lineman. He was an edge rusher turned into a middle coverage linebacker. He didn't know that necessarily even when he signed with the Eagles. I had a chance to ask him that on Radio Row. I forgot about that many days ago on opening night here in opening night here in New Orleans. Had a chance to ask Zach Bond, what was it like making that transition from D-line to coverage linebacker? And he just had to work at it really hard, but it was one of those fascinating phenomena that he didn't even know when he signed with the Eagles. He didn't know that was going to be his role. It just happened due to injury, and he was athletic enough to do it. I asked him if he was just a one-of-one type thing, or could other defensive linemen, edge rushers, do something like he did, and the name he gave me was Nick Herbig of the Steelers. His guy, Nick from the Steelers, was the other name that he threw out that he thought might be able to do that. I do want to get into some of the NFL honors last night. We talked NFL honors red carpet at the start of the show. Before we get back into the game, obviously, because I do think it was a slight surprise. Slight surprise that Josh Allen was the MVP over Lamar. Now, not a surprise in my eyes, not a surprise in what I thought was the MVP of the year. I thought Josh Allen was the league's MVP this season. But first team All-Pro was Lamar. Josh Allen is the first player in 21 seasons to win MVP without being selected first-team All-Pro. So he has broke a trend that had been there for 2 decades. If you bet on Josh, congratulations. You probably did well. You bucked that trend. And I'm an idiot because I should have done that. Sterling, you're better than that. Lamar, though, as great as he is, if you've heard my thoughts on him part of the season, I think he stat pads a little. I think fourth quarter comes around and you see a little action happening. Fourth quarter, they're not running the football. If they are, it might at times be with Lamar. They're still rocking some play action, up 21 points. So I think some of those numbers were inflated. The record played a factor for me as well. I just thought what Josh Allen did in a year that was supposed to be a step back for him was wildly impressive. I thought overall, maybe the weapons, offensive line was fairly comparable, I thought. Bills' offensive line was pretty darn good, but I think the Ravens were as well. But I think Lamar had more help around him than Josh. I think Josh was the game changer for that, for the Bills this particular season. So happy for Josh Allen. If you know my thoughts, I think he's the second best quarterback in the NFL behind Patrick Mahomes. And I'm totally okay with Patrick not winning MVP. Because you know that means probably going to win Super Bowl MVP. And since, by the way, just going back to that stat, in the 21 seasons since an MVP was awarded to a quarterback who was not first-team All-Pro, the only other players to have that happen to them since 1957, Broncos quarterback John Elway in 87. Joe Montana was first-team All-Pro that year. And Steve McNair in 2003, Air McNair, when Peyton Manning was first-team All-Pro. So one of the bigger upsets was Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson. It was a very close race. Josh Allen received 27 out of the 50 first-place votes. Lamar got 23. So 27 out of 50, Lamar 23 out of 50. There were no other options. Those are the only two. So if you thought maybe Saquon would get a vote, not for first-place votes. First-place votes, all 50 went between Jackson and Allen, with Allen 27, Lamar 23. Why it's an interesting conundrum and why it's so rare for MVP and not be first team. It's the same voters. Well, it's a regular season award. How was Lamar first team All-Pro? I think Josh should have been both, by the way. That's my point here. It's the same damn voters. What changed? At least 4 of you, 5 of you would have had to, 4 of you would have had to change, right? Because it could have been the opposite. At least 4 of you had to change. At least. Tell me, voters, what changed in your mind from MVP versus first or second team All-Pro? I don't get it. Allen becoming the third Bills player to win MVP since O.J. and Thurman Thomas in 1991. And this is the smallest victory for an MVP since Steve McNair in 2003. Breakdown for Saquon. The highest Saquon got was 1 second-place vote. Joe Burrow also receiving 1 second-place vote. Full list of the top 10 was Josh, Lamar, Saquon, Joe, Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes, Jayden Daniels, Justin Herbert, Jamar Chase, Sam Darnold, and then Baker Mayfield. Offensive Player of the Year this year. We know it. You know it. The world knows it. Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, first year in Philly, and the Chiefs obviously know what they have going up against on Sunday. Steve Spagnuolo, the Eagles' worst nightmare. Going to have to try and stop. No. contain Saquon. You don't stop Saquon. You contain Saquon. Saquon Barkley becoming the first Eagles player ever to win Offensive Player of the Year award, becoming the 9th player to rush for more than 2,000 yards and finished 100 yards shy of Eric Dickerson's all-time record. Now, it was also done in, well, no. He would have broken it in one extra game if he would have played in week 18, game 17, but he sat. So, Eric Dickerson was actually on yesterday, so if you want to check that out, you can. But Saquon's 142.7 rushing yards per game, ranked as the 4th most over the past 15 seasons. So it was the consistency, it was the explosive plays, it was the health. Saquon Barkley was just absolutely ridiculous this year. And as you've heard from a lot of the interviews we have done this week on Radio Row, almost every single running back has been a highly complimentary of Saquon, because every running back understands what Saquon and, to an extent, Derrick Henry has done to the running back market. DPOY. I'll give someone 5 seconds to guess why I take a sip of coffee. Got to wet my whistle here. A lot of talking. If you said Patrick Surtain II, you would be correct. Pat Surtain became the first cornerback in 5 years to win the award. Cornerback has, again, been a little bit, but it had become, it feels like, a edge rusher, a almost sack award. But Surtain gave up only 2 touchdowns and 306 receiving yards all season long. Surtain had been turning dudes into Andy Isabella or Sky Moore. Don't mean to take a shot at those guys. Sorry. Now I feel bad. But the point remains, Pat Surtain had been electric and turned dudes into wide receiver 6s. Special teamers. That 306 yards is the 3rd fewest among corners with at least 50 targets. Pretty damn impressive. Shout out to ESPN research for that number. Surtain received 26 first-place votes, beating out Trey Hendrickson, who had 11, and Myles Garrett, who had 5. Recently, we talked with Myles Garrett a couple of days ago right here on Radio Row, getting a thought about where he wants to go to, landing spots for Myles Garrett. You know, he wasn't going to come out and say it, clearly, but he really wants to go to a winner, and I get the feeling that that is what is most important to Myles. Ryan coming up right now. We're live. No, come on in, baby. No. I meant it in a good way. Ryan, I meant it in a good way. Like what? No, Ryan, I would never do that to you. What we do is we just roll.
Got it.
We just roll from.
Oh, look at this. There's another camera right here.
There's another
one. You
one.
guys got it all figured out.
We have multiple cameras right here. Okay, we're just here partying, baby. It's Radio Row in New Orleans.
Yeah, you guys are pros. This is not your first rodeo.
No, well, this is my second rodeo.
Okay, got it.
I've actually never been to a rodeo. Okay. I don't know why they say like this is not my first rodeo.
They're pretty fun, actually.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Where are you from? Texas?
No. You know Jared Allen, Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a big rodeo guy.
So I'm from Kansas City.
Nice.
So I grew up, Jared Allen was one of my favorite players growing up. It was one of the saddest days in my childhood when Jared Allen was traded to Minnesota.
Yeah.
That was back before Kansas City was good. So when everyone calls us front runners and bandwagon fans, I sit here and go, come on now. If you weren't there for the Matt Castle, Tyler Thigpen days, we know. We know about that.
Matt Castle is my roommate now, so now you got to be careful. These NFL circles are small.
So there's a huge joke because Matt Castle's great on Twitter, right? Matt Castle loves he loves the responses to those people. Matt Castle, very nice guy. Had a chance to meet him a few times when he was in Kansas City, and I remember thinking that he was going to be the savior of Kansas City. I still rock my Matt Castle jersey because that was a big deal for KC.
Yeah.
We got jerseys, right?
Yeah.
The t-shirt combo. Yeah, my Matt Castle jersey's gotten some wear on it. I do want to talk to you, Ryan. So, first off, who are you here with right now? Are you working with anyone right now on radio? Are you partnered with anyone?
No, I'm not.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're just
cruising.
You're just cruising, having fun down here.
Yeah, well, it's the one time a year I get to come and see all my buddies. Everybody. So I was in Carolina, obviously, for 12 years and then moved to Los Angeles to do production. And it's tough, man. I miss the locker room. I miss all the guys, and most of them stayed back home. So this is a great excuse to come out and visit with everybody. And then obviously there's projects I'm doing, so I've been able to go around Radio Row and talk about them. So it's been fun.
What are all the projects you're working on right now?
Yeah, so when I retired, I started a production company with Blake Griffin called Mortal Media, and we've been up and running for a few years now. We produced our first movie. We did a remake to White Man Can't Jump with Jack Harlow for Hulu. We did this crazy sci-fi show with Apple TV with Billy Crudup called Hello Tomorrow. And yeah, we've since moved into animation, and now we're doing a lot more unscripted stuff. So it's been fun. We just recently bought a football team in Mexico, not soccer, but American football.
Really?
And so we're going to document that, and us idiot jocks down there trying to figure out if, like most fans who are have all the answers, on how to run a franchise, see if we know what we're talking about.
How did you get into all of this post-football? Did you know as your football career was winding down? I know it's hard because you're the man. When you're playing football, you're the guy. You're in a locker room. You have all those people around you, great support system. You're in the forefront, and then your playing career ends. What are you going to do? Well,
what's funny is, so I went to USC. I was on those really good teams, national championship teams, except for the one that lost to Vince Young in the Rose Bowl. But, I saw guys who were getting drafted that I thought were going to be first-round picks who weren't, or guys who are like getting drafted late rounds, getting cut later. So I learned pretty early that, NFL stood for not for long. So I just didn't know how long I'd have as a career. And I always wanted to get into production. So every offseason I'd come back to LA and I'd intern at like a different studio, different production company. And so that's what I was kind of gearing up for, not knowing I was going to play 13 seasons.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a much easier transition than maybe the next guy. But even then, still got into it. As soon as I got done playing, felt like a rookie, still learning, still trying to figure it out. But it's been a lot of fun.
Do all the offensive linemen hang out together? Is that like on Radio Row? Do the quarterbacks hang together? Because I've seen all the running backs go up to Emmitt and Eric.
Yeah.
Do the offensive linemen have their own little conglomerate here?
Yeah, there's definitely camaraderie, especially cross-team camaraderie. Guys that you just know or admire from afar, and even younger guys, I think, stay up with the older guys. I think the other position groups, they couldn't care less. I think once a guy retires, they're
sure.
Unless even top tier guys, I don't think a lot of young guys know who they are. But I think most offensive linemen know who all the greats are, guys who've played a long time. So, yeah, it's fun bumping into those guys, and it's like you've known them for years.
You got to stay away from wide receivers, though, because they're all deep, is correct?
Of course.
Of course. I think that's kind of the breakdown here.
Yeah, and quarterbacks are starting to get that way, too. They didn't used to be.
Yeah.
And now this new flock.
Who do you blame for that?
Probably my guy, Cam Newton.
Cam Newton. You got to blame Cam for that one.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah. So when it comes down to the new face, the center's kind of having a resurgence in the NFL. You saw Creed Humphrey get just a ridiculous contract, right? And here in Kansas City, we love that for him.
Yeah.
But I think, you're seeing the importance of that connection. Obviously, you had that in Carolina for a very long time. Happened the same thing with the Eagles with Jason Kelce. Jeff Saturday had, obviously, Peyton Manning and that connection there. You look at a lot of these really good teams who have sustained success, it's a lot of times the quarterback and center combination. Are teams somewhat wising up to that now instead of having a center for hire almost? Because KC did that for a little bit. KC had some really good centers with Rodney Hudson, Mitch Morse, Casey Wigman, but they kind of won contract and moved on.
Wigman was my favorite, by the way, the best.
That offensive line was with Will
awesome.
Shields and
Well, I loved him too because the knock on me was I was always undersized, and when I met him, he was like 280, and I was like, oh, you're my hero. Like I don't have to. Like everybody kept trying to convince me I needed to be 315.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't hold that weight, and so I watched a lot of his film, and he was so quick and versatile and just like incredible technique, and so I studied a lot of his film. But anyways, big fan. Yeah, I think it depends on the situation. Like for me. We had a revolving door of quarterbacks, and so I think in my situation I was lucky because of that, because they wanted some kind of continuity, some kind of consistency. So at that time I'd signed the biggest deal for a center, and honestly nobody knew if Cam was going to be good or not, because a lot of guys were great in college and then they couldn't, but he obviously exceeded everybody's expectations.
In college too.
I think early on I helped him out, and then like within a couple of years he had figured it out on his own, and so I think if I was somebody who was coming into a team, I don't think a team like Carolina 3 years into Cam Newton would have signed somebody like me. So
sure.
So I think you can, once you have a guy who's pretty established, you can sort of, depending on the system, you can put a guy there that doesn't have to be your highest paid offensive lineman. So I think it just depends on the team. I think it depends on the situation. I mean, obviously, I think I'm biased. I think the center position is very important. But I think it just depends on a lot of different factors.
I was talking with some Bengals offensive linemen yesterday, and we were just joking around. Why do college quarterbacks and just play callers clap? You know what I'm talking?
Yeah.
Like, why is that the snap count? Like, why is that because NFL, obviously you don't, but in college you'll see the right guard a lot of times, either the right arm up or you'll see the clap. Why?
I think it just depends on the offense. I think some of it is routine to keep something consistent, especially on the road. Obviously, you're not going to hear that. So it's just trying to keep the continuity for a quarterback, and maybe also there's visual cues that you're sort of like getting the defense to kind of lull to sleep on a clap that maybe you'll use for a hard count. So not always are you going to go on the clap, but sometimes when you have guys trying to time up blitzes, maybe they start subconsciously going on the clap, and so that would be my only guess.
Yeah, I mean, I just have always wondered that. I'm a Mizzou fan, so I watch a lot of SEC football. I'm like, all these guys are going pro, and I've never once seen anyone in the NFL clap.
Yeah,
but you'll see Joe Burrow when he was at LSU do the clap, and I just found that fascinating. So even a lot of offensive linemen, I guess, don't even know why that is the situation.
Yeah, you never know who picks up something from somebody. I mean, in Carolina we never really had a great silent count, and we started looking around. It was probably like my fourth year in the league. We started looking around the league to see who had a good silent count, and actually Philly had a really great silent count.
Yeah.
And so we took it from them, because before it was me putting my head between my legs, waiting for the quarterback to lift his leg, and then I'd come up and the defense would be completely different. And then I'd be panicking, trying to like tell everybody what to do, and then the clock would be running down and we'd get, delay of games. And then Philly was actually one of the first ones that started having the guard do it. And then we were doing like a head movement, and that's what we took from Philly, and it worked great for us for years.
Who typically calls out if, say, someone's coming on a blitz, right? I go back to the Bills game, final play of the game, when Spags sent just an absolute bloodbath towards Josh Allen. That was very difficult. You're sending your two best coverage players, and you're dropping back a defensive lineman into coverage, and it was difficult there. But who's typically in charge of calling out offensive line protection, where to slide?
Again, it just depends on the experience level and who you have personnel-wise. My first couple years in the NFL, it was Jake Delhomme. I wasn't calling out any blitzes. I could barely remember half the plays or the play count, let alone like try to read defenses. And then by the time Jake left and we drafted Cam, I was watching safeties. I was watching coverages. I was really, you start intuitively kind of picking it up like a game of chess. So I was there helping him out. And then as it evolved, like Cam figured it out. And so we were splitting the time, and then we were sort of helping each other. And then when I left, I'm sure he took it over, and it was a young guy trying to figure it out the way I was when I had Jake Delhomme. So it just, again, it depends on the personnel, experience level, and the team, and what kind of system they're in.
Do you ever get upset with Jason Kelce being the guy that now everyone points to for centers? You're like, hey, me, Jeff Saturday, we were doing that. Because you guys were you and Jeff Saturday, all pros. I mean, you guys were the face of that position for such a long time.
No, I love Jason. I've been a fan of Jason's for a long time. I think where I get upset, or maybe more jealous than anything, is media stuff I was out doing, and I was getting a lot of crap from the franchise about it. Like I wasn't taking football serious, and I was doing silly skits and things like that. And so I tampered that part of my personality down a lot because I was getting a lot of heat from the team about, hey, this is not good optics. And then within like 5 years, it just changed overnight. I think social media had a lot to do with that, but it just became more common and accepting. And then all of a sudden, we went from guys getting in trouble to filming in the locker room to now like it's just 24/7 access to everything. So there used to be where it was like, this is a sanctuary, you don't let people into this. And also, depending on our record, it's bad look if you're out there goofing around and not taking things seriously. It's like, okay, but I'm doing my job. Like, it's not,
But you know how fans are. If the team's good,
I get it.
No one cares. It's fun.
But I will say it's changed now. Like, good or bad, it's just sort of like commonplace that guys can have their own personality, and everybody's trying to like create a brand. And honestly, that wasn't my intention at the time. It was just me being silly and trying to make light of such a serious, hard job.
Well, you wrote a book about it too.
We did, which didn't take off because we didn't have the kind of social media power to really push it. And I still love that book. I'm glad you brought that up. It's like one of my favorite things I've ever done. And it's funny, like revisiting it, it's still pretty relevant today.
What was some of your favorite parts of, because I love to read. That's like one of my, people that watch the show, I'm a nerd. I at night, I sit down with a glass of bourbon and a book. That's my nightcap almost every night in Kansas City because you're just going all day. It's nice to relax.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite part about writing that book, some of the parts that really stood out to you?
Well, I wrote it with buddies, so that was really fun. I think the part that I loved about it was we played together in Carolina for so long, so my thought about it was, does this translate to other teams? Like, is this only Carolina based? And so, the good and bad part about the NFL is you got a lot of mercenaries, guys who come in and out of lockers. So, I didn't play on a lot of teams, but you got to ask guys who played on like 4 or 5 teams, like, what was this coach like? What was that franchise like? What was the culture there like? What was the ownership like? Were they cheap owners? Were they not? How were the fans? And so we spent probably a good like 6 months just calling all guys that we knew that played everywhere and just asking like, hey, was this only unique to Carolina, or did this happen in Kansas City? Did this happen in Pittsburgh? Did this happen with the Jets? And what we found was it was like guys would laugh and be like, no, it's exactly how. So it was pretty commonplace, a lot of the stuff we put in the book.
Well, when it comes to Kansas City and Philly, it seems like these organizations have built it with Kansas City a little different. They gave Andy Reid the power first and foremost, and then he went and got the GM Brett Veach. Eagles a little different here, obviously. They went and got Howie Roseman. He's been there for a while. Head coach it's been Sirianni for a while now, I guess now. But I think when it comes down to it, most people, I think in the NFL and media circles will agree, these are the 2 best GMs in football. They're 2 very well-run organizations where the owners almost at times stay out and say, hey, we trust you to do your job. You do your job. I'm not trying to take a knock on like Jerry in Dallas, but there's other organizations.
A little bit you are.
But I'm not trying to. I'm just saying because that's a different style. But it does seem like the Eagles and Chiefs style has obviously created some great success. Are you surprised? Like even the Jets, for example, like with Woody Johnson and some of the stuff that's kind of come out in recent weeks. Are you surprised that more teams don't try to rock with the Chiefs and Eagles organizational structure, or is it just too hard to emulate?
Well, I think that's a simplified version of it. I would say talent in the league is a big deal, and those 2 teams have some of the best talent in all of football, starting at the quarterback position.
But that's also the GM, though.
Which is the most important part. Sure. But also, you just never know. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Like, plenty of GMs who got lucky and vice versa. So you just never know. You never know how a guy's going to pan out. You never know how a guy's going to transition from college to the pros. You never know how he's going to mesh with the team, what the state of the team is. I think a lot of guys, you could look at their careers and go, they were there at the right time at the right place. And if you were able to like Back to the Future it and put them somewhere else in a different system, you could see their trajectory going much differently.
Yeah.
So I just really believe that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like even like the Tom Brady stories of the world. Like you just never know.
Like Brock Purdy, for example.
Brock Purdy.
If he went to different organization, does it end up the same? If Trubisky went to a different organization,
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like, even Sam Darnold, who's one of my all-time favorite guys. Like, I got to, obviously he's an SC guy, so I'm biased, but I got to play with him a little bit at the Jets, and I saw his work ethic. I saw his talent. Bad system. It just was a bad place. Like, Adam Gase, and that whole situation was not a good place for him to be and grow as a quarterback. And then he went to Carolina, similar situation. They were in a kind of transitional phase. And then he went to the Niners, and great organization, great situation. Got to sit back, kind of reset, and had an incredible year in Minnesota, obviously because of situation there too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just, like, even just taking that example and then, like, to apply that to a young guy coming out of college right away to have success, it's a rare thing to happen, and it's not always on the GM. There's a lot of luck that's involved in that. But it does take a specific kind of executive, I think, to have the patience to sort of, like, I do feel like sometimes we're in this kind of cycle of success, feast or famine. Like, we got to move on if we don't get it right away. You know what I mean? The days of, like, a guy sitting behind a guy and learning, we don't see it as often. And so
I see it with offensive linemen more than anyone else, by the way.
100%.
I mean, we see it in Kansas City with, like, Kingsley and, like, Andrew Thomas with the Giants, for example. I always go to. That's the example of have patience with the tackle or with an offensive lineman. It's such a different transition, and I didn't even play, obviously, but it's something I've just noticed from college to the NFL.
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
just crazy to me. By the way, Ryan, everyone make sure you check out Mortal Media, right? Get your book.
Yeah, you got to get the book.
Get your book.
I think they still sell it. I don't know.
You know what? I'll go to Half Price Books and find it.
Okay, perfect.
I'm going to go to find it. Ryan,
Perfect.
I really do appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you, man.
Hey,
Thank you so much.
Take it easy.
All right, good to be here.
I'm getting the book. I'm getting the book, Ryan, just so you know. I will find that book. Thank you. I'm going to find that book. Okay. We will take a quick break. We will come back. Malcom and Verderam joining us next.
Back here at Stacking the Box, Media Row, Super Bowl week here in New Orleans, about to interview Matt Verderam. How you doing today, Matt?
Doing well, Malcolm. How are you?
Excellent. So I want to know, man, what you been up to, since we saw each other last in Arizona.
Just covering the NFL, living the dream. Back here at the Super Bowl, the weather's nice. Beats the hell out of being in Chicago where it's 20 degrees.
Right.
Eating my weight in seafood. It's been good. It's been good. But yeah, looking forward to the game on Sunday.
So let's talk about the game on Sunday. Obviously, the Chiefs and Eagles. Is there an X factor? You're looking at with this game, and who do you think is going to win, and who do you think is going to be MVP, non-quarterback for both teams?
Well, I think if the Eagles win, I think Barkley's a great bet to be the MVP, so I'll take him. If it's the Chiefs, I'll say Kelsey. Maybe he just has his swan song of a game. He has, 100 yards and a touchdown, something like that. I think this game comes down to one thing. Can the Eagles get to Mahomes? Can they pressure him with 4? If they can, I think they win. If they can't, I don't think they can win the game. They've got to get home. I watched Brady for 20 years in New England, where you could talk about all the matchups in the world, but if you don't hit them, you're not going to win. Mahomes isn't that same ilk at this point. I mean, if they're going to win, Jalen Carter's got to play really well. Milton Williams has to play really well. The edge rushers to get home. To me, that's the Eagles' path. If the Chiefs can block, I think they have a good day.
Awesome, Matt. I would love to know about this podcast that you're doing with Kansas City, and how did you get started with podcasting, and who inspired you?
I just always have enjoyed it, whether I was doing it for Stacking the Box or Arrowhead Addict. I started the Matt Verderam show, not because I have a big ego, but because I figured that was a good way to, for people to search my name and find it. It's about the Chiefs. It's on Patreon. There's a new episode up this morning, actually. So it's been a lot of fun. I just started doing it. Actually, the first episode was last year's preview of the Super Bowl. So I've been doing it for a year. It's been a lot of fun. And it's been a good way to kind of do my own thing and have a little bit of a side gig from Sports Illustrated, and they've been nice enough to let me do it. So it's been a blast. I just enjoy doing podcasts, and it's one of the many that I do every week. But it's nice to have my own thing that I'm doing.
Malcolm, ask him who his first guest was on the Matt Verderam show.
Who was your first guest on a Matt Verderam show there, Matt?
Honest to God, I don't remember, but I'm guessing it was Sterling based off of that question. I would imagine. Were you the first?
I believe I was the first.
Were you? Okay.
Maybe I was the second, but I thought you said I was the first. And
you very well might have been.
I think I was the first because you told me, I think, who the guy was following me, the person following me, and I was like, oh, wow. Big name. Way to lead with me.
Okay, so
bad choice.
It might have maybe who followed you was Louis Riddick because he was right at the top.
I think it was Louis Riddick.
Maybe Louis number 2 because but I guess I got to give Sterling credit. I think I remember telling you if this succeeds, I'll take the credit. If it fails, it's on you.
Yes, correct.
But it's worked out. It's been good.
1,000%.
Yeah,
1,000%. Who are you? What team impressed you this season, Matt? I'm curious to know, like what team was there a team or a player that impressed you this season prior to when the playoffs began?
Yeah, I mean, look, I thought the Commanders were the surprise team, right? I mean, Jaden Daniels, Offensive Rookie of the Year, he was tremendous all year long. If they can add a little bit around him, I think they're a team that could be here next year. They're that type of team. They've got the quarterback. They've got to find the rest of the roster a little bit. I got to give Denver credit. I didn't think Denver had any chance in the world of making the playoffs, and they ended up winning 10 games. They get in, one and done, fine, but better than I thought they would be. And then, look, it's a team I thought would be in the playoffs, but the Lions, if they didn't have the injuries that they had, I think they would be here.
Right.
But that's part of it. They lose Hutchinson 5 games in. McNeil got hurt. The running backs. I mean, just unfortunately for the Lions, just a lot of injuries kind of submarine the season.
How'd you feel about Josh Allen getting MVP last night at NFL Honors instead of Lamar Jackson?
Look, I don't think you could argue it either way. I would have voted for Allen, so I felt fine about it. I think, to be fair to Allen, I don't know that he had the same level of talent around him that Lamar did in Baltimore. He didn't have Derrick Henry. He didn't have Zay Flowers. They rebuilt – I don't want to say rebuilt. They retooled that team around him this offseason. And Allen was only one of 2 Pro Bowlers on that roster.
Right.
So I would have given it to Allen, but I also think it would have been – if Jackson had won it, I wouldn't have argued the point.
Do you agree that Kevin O'Connell deserved Coach of the Year, or do you think Dan Campbell should have gotten it?
I think it should have been O'Connell. I mean, they won 14 games with Sam Darnold.
Yeah. And and Minnesota was the 5 seed?
Yeah, I mean, O'Connell to me did an incrable job.
Yeah.
I would have given the nod to O'Connell for sure.
So talk about the Chiefs. They're trying to become the first team to do a 3-peat. What has impressed you most about Kansas City this season? Was there a player that impressed you on there? Whether offensively or defensively, and talk about how impressive you've been with Coach Reed and Coach Spags.
I think the most impressive thing about the Chiefs is that they're a full team. Mm-hmm. They win in a million different ways. Need to block a field goal to win? That's fine. Need to hold the team to 17 points? Great. Got to score 30? Fine. They find ways. The one narrative this week I feel like I've seen a lot that I just completely push back on is that the Eagles are more talented than the Chiefs.
Right.
The Eagles are not more talented than the Chiefs in this game. First of all, the difference between Mahomes and Hurts is enough that right off the bat, I think there's a huge advantage. But, the Chiefs have 3 All-Pros or Pro Bowlers on their offensive line.
Right.
I've seen people talk about the Chiefs like they can't block the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles are a very good team, but I think the Chiefs, the overall depth of talent is enormous across the entire roster. And there are unsung guys like a Jalen Watson, a Drew Tranquill, Leo Chenal, guys like that who maybe nationally don't get a lot of acclaim but are really good players. I think Andy at this point is a top 3 coach, 3 to 5 coach ever. Spagnuolo would be my bet. He's probably going to be the first defensive coordinator to ever go to the Hall of Fame. I mean, so they've been phenomenal. I think they probably win this game. I think they find a way.
Before I let you go, Matt, I would like to know, you could do your own fantasy draft of podcasters. Who would be like your top 3, your top 5, And, you could do celebrities if you want. You could also do you could do broadcasters, players.
I guess, look, I'd have to say somewhere in there the Kelsey brothers are in there. I think Nick Wright does a tremendous job. I enjoy his show. Bill Simmons is kind of the original. He's the GOAT. I've been listening to Bill for 20 years, so I'll throw Bill in there. Those are the guys that, to me, stick out. Russillo does a good job. So I think a lot of those guys, listen to so many podcasts these days, to stand out among all of them is quite an accomplishment.
Awesome, Matt. Pleasure to have you on today. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks a lot, Malcolm. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Matt.
Stay for a second here, because I'm shocked that you didn't put me on that list. I'm a little befuddled and a little taken aback that I was not on that list. But it's because I was a given. I'm a fixture, I guess. Was that why?
Yeah, I don't want to show favoritism. That's why.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think the one guy I'm worried most about, I don't know your thoughts here, everyone keeps talking about Jalen Carter. To me, it's Milton Williams. Milton Williams is being...
Because he's going against Mike Caliendo?
More than likely, yes, because that's not where Jalen Carter lines up. Carter lines up over the right guard, pulled some numbers, tried to give a little breakdown earlier in the show. It's Milton Williams who moves all the way around. He's going to get paid. He was the PFF second-ranked interior pass rusher, 90-some grade. Is that the guy you're like,
I just think it's a collective. I look at, so Milton Williams, I was doing some research last night. Milton Williams and Josh Sweat in the playoffs in 3 games. Do you know how many quarterback hits they have combined between 2 of them?
9.
1.
1?
Sweat has not hit the quarterback once this entire playoffs, and Williams is 1. You know who leads the NFL in quarterback pressures in the playoffs? Karlaftis.
For the Chiefs?
Yeah. So it's like, I just think if the Eagles are going to win this game, and so we haven't talked about it, I don't know how you feel, but if they're going to win this game, they got to hit him.
Yeah.
They've got to hit him. We could talk about Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. They're all terrific. They're terrific. If Mahomes has 2.5 seconds to stand there and look around, it's over.
Yes.
Right.
He's going to find someone. They will find a pigeon and just go, that guy. And just Kyrie Elam is still giving up completions. Now, the Eagles do not have a Kyrie Elam, okay?
No.
They don't have that guy.
No.
But if they can get Oren Burks on Travis Kelce, they're going to do it over and over until Philadelphia comes out of whatever defense they're in. If the Chiefs can get Worthy in man coverage on Slay, Slay's terrific, but Worthy will outrun him all over.
Yes.
It's just they have to get pressure. If they get pressure, they can win this game. If they don't get pressure, we can talk about all the matchups in the world. It's a wrap. It's over.
Yeah.
We got to let Matt Verderame go. All right. I think Bijan's coming up, so shockingly.
He's more important.
Shockingly, Verderame. It's not my fault. It's blame Hunter. Always blame Hunter.
I always have.
Make sure you check out the Matt Verderame show. Matt Verderame also on SI. Dude, I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon, Matt.
Take care, guys.
Take care, Matt. Thank you so much.
Not even a caller today for Matt Verderame. Not surprising. Oh, shoot. I'm not either. I'm a dummy. I've been wearing full suits, so I just assumed I was still in one.
Right.
No.
Verderame, dressing for comfort. Yeah, I'll leave at noon. I'll see you around, man.
See you, Matt.
Bijan Robinson coming up next, right here, Malcolm.
For Atlanta Falcons running back, I'm impressed to see what Bijan's going to do. How you doing today,
Sterling.
Bijan?
Good, man.
Doing great, man. Doing great.
All right,
Good to be with
everyone.
y'all.
Everyone knows who Bijan Robinson is, but Bijan is right here because of Visa and Chase Inc. They have teamed up to put Visa Small Business Clubhouse, presented by Chase Inc., at the Super Bowl experience.
Yes, sir.
Chase Inc. and Visa have partnered to give small business owners an opportunity to take center stage as MVPs at their Super Bowl 59 booth.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I mean, just me being here with Chase, it's been a great partnership. And for me, like, I have a small business and, the Bijan Mustardson. And I think it's important that, small businesses, starting to have a chance and have an opportunity to get, way bigger than they want to be. And I think what Visa and Chase is doing will give them an opportunity to do that, and that the people can trust what they're doing, and that the people can trust that the money that they can get or that they can invest in will be, just way bigger than what they got going on. So, this has been, something that's really near and dear to me, and I hope that it can be like the biggest thing for people with small businesses.
Yeah.
Awesome, Bijan. I would love to ask you about the Falcons.
Yeah.
What do you see they need to do in order to get back to the playoffs and and maybe a Super Bowl run?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think for us, the biggest thing for us is just staying consistent, from week to week, and making sure that we're, because we have a lot of talent on this team, and I think we have talent to take us to the next level, take us to the playoffs, to the maybe, God willing, to the Super Bowl. But for us, like, taking every single team, like it's our biggest game. Like, we can't just go to our division games and make sure that those are the games that we focus and lock into. But I mean, if we play anybody else, like, throughout our season, like, we got to make sure, because that's what it came down to for us at the end of the season, was us playing a different team, and we had to win that game to either go to the playoffs and rely on another team. So that's, like, the biggest thing for us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you like seeing the running back market all of a sudden take this turn back? Obviously, you were a big part of this, by the way, getting drafted 8th overall, right?
Yeah.
That was huge.
No doubt.
So you see that, and then
Yeah.
you see Saquon Barkley do his thing. You see Derrick Henry at his age do his thing.
No doubt.
Josh Jacobs gets that contract, goes. I mean, it's almost this resurgence of the running back market, but I do think you kind of started it being drafted in the first round that high.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about that?
No, I do. I mean, I know that conversation really started, like, during my draft process, and it started to grow and become bigger and bigger and bigger throughout that offseason. And for me, I mean, it's definitely a blessing being able to maybe start a new trend and drafting running backs high, and making sure that the running backs are coming back the right way. I mean, obviously there's a great running back coming out right now, a couple of them. And I mean, like 7 or 8 of them, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's really a chance for him to grow and see where he can go in the draft and have opportunities. But I just think the running back position right now, especially how the running backs did this year, is at a high level at this point, and it's cool to see it all for everybody.
Awesome. Piggying off of that, Bijan.
Yeah.
Was there a running back this season that that impressed you most?
I mean,
that you were like,
yeah,
wow,
man. So Saquon was obviously the one that impressed everybody. He impressed me the most. Just watching him week to week, and how he was just gaining so many yards on plays that were maybe shut down, and he still found a way. He still found a way to get yards. He still found a way to make an explosive off of it. So, he did a really good job of keeping himself, in his frame, in his I don't know what I'm trying to say, but every time he would run the ball, like, he was super controlled, and he was super understanding of where the plays were going to hit. So he was the one this year.
Awesome.
I heard you talk about at some point this year the game started to slow down a little bit for you.
Yeah.
Was there a specific moment that happened for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was more so like game 3 this year. It completely slowed down. Like, after the Eagles game, the game was just, like, slow flowing. I understood where the plays were going to hit. I understood where the plays were supposed to go. I knew where my free hitter was, and after that, I mean, it just took off. And I mean, from year 1 to year 2 is when you want to experience that slow down, get that shift of where you're going to go, how you're going to break these tackles. And I mean, that was early in the season is when it truly slowed down for me.
Yeah.
Awesome. If you could do a fantasy draft, an all-star team of football players, not your teammates,
Yeah.
who would you have on there?
I mean, quarterback, probably probably Lamar Jackson, just because like his running and passing dynamic is awesome. And then
you and him would be wild.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy. And then you said besides me?
Yeah, besides you, besides your teammates.
Okay, running back had to be Saquon this year, and then tight end. I'm gonna say Trey McBride.
Nice.
Tight end.
Nice.
And then receiver, I'm going to go Jamar Chase and Drake London. I'm going to go those two at receiver. Am I missing anybody? I got to do defense?
Yeah.
You can do offense.
You can do offense. Offense only.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess second running back, Jameer Gibbs. He'll be the second one for me.
Nice.
Good call.
Good call.
It's a good call right there.
Yep.
Are all running backs just rooting for the Eagles? Because every running back we've talked to goes, I'm rooting for Saquon and the Eagles. Every single one has
man.
been.
I mean, it's real because like you really want.
What about Pacheco and Kareem Hunt? Come on, Bijan.
Come on, Bijan.
I mean, those are great running backs too, obviously. But when you have a guy that's super special that can change the game, that can do anything at a high level, you root for that as much as you can. Obviously, the Chiefs are an amazing team, have an amazing defensive coordinator, amazing defense. So like. You got to take that into accountability, but I think the Saquon and those guys are going to win.
What do you think is the score? What do you think the score is going to be, and who do you have as MVP?
I'm
Not quarterback for both teams.
I'm gonna say the score is going to be 25-17, Eagles, and the MVP is going to be Saquon at running back.
Of course.
And I guess for the Chiefs, it'll be Xavier Worthy.
Awesome.
I like that.
Yeah.
Michael Penix Jr. took over the last few games.
Yeah.
You guys have a really nice young core that's being built down there in Atlanta.
No doubt.
How exciting is that to have, an up-and-coming quarterback? You have yourself. You have some offensive weapons. And a lot of you guys are still so young. What's that excitement level looking like?
Very, very excited, man. This opportunity that we have here is something that they've been building for a long time. And for us to just, we gel together really well. We understand each other. We understand what can get us going, what can take us off, and we're all leaders in this team. So for us, like, now it's time to just inflect it into the whole team and not just focus on the offense, but go on the defensive side and get those guys right too, because it's all important at the end of the day, and we need everybody more so than just us to operate on this team.
Yeah.
As a running back, talk about how difficult it is to be a running back. And what are some of the things you have to do to prepare as a running back? Like, what are some of the what are some of the exercises you have to do? Like, let's say an athlete wants to be a running back. What's some advice you could give for those that want to be a running back? Or just have a football career in general.
I'll say, like, when it comes to drills and when it comes to all those kind of things, like drills are great. Drills are awesome for you, but like, make sure that these running backs, that you guys that want to play running back, are getting on the track, that are running on the track, that are extending your feet, extending your legs, stretching a lot. And then if you do want to get into the drill space, like, make sure that you're not doing just like bag work and trying to just like, do these cone drills or trash can drills. Like, you need people to throw things at you. You need people to make sure that you're reacting and make sure that your reaction time is getting better and better and better, because that's how you'll break tackles. That's how you'll extend the plays. That's how you'll make people miss and learn new moves like on YouTube and all that kind of stuff, because you can try all that and it'll just make you better as a running back.
Awesome.
I guess, you did play with Xavier Worthy down there,
yeah.
right? Yeah. What was he like? Because we're seeing this explosion here. I'm from Kansas City, so I'm seeing this explosion of Xavier Worthy. We were a little intrigued because he never really got injured at his size, but that was the concern, was his size.
Yeah.
I tried telling people, too, it almost feels like he would have been better if he ran a 4.3 instead of a 4.2, because then people just said he's just a fast guy. I'm like, no, he's a great wide receiver that just happens to be incredibly fast.
A very fast guy.
What was that like playing with guys like Xavier Worthy down there, and what did you take away from him? Are you surprised by the immediate success that he's had?
Not at all. I mean, what people don't know is that dude really works hard. People think that it's just all speed, and he was blessed with the speed, but no, man. I mean, if you see him practice and his practice habits, it's pretty incredible. Like, obviously he's the guy that runs deep routes and that runs deep all the time, but the fact that he can run 10 deep routes in a practice, like, consistently every single day is pretty impressive. So yeah, I just think like his work ethic is what drove me to become a better running back on the team, to become a better receiver when I played receiver with him, and just kind of studying his habits and what he does. It's been really impressive.
I want to ask you lastly, Bijan, talk about the transition that you had from college, playing at the University of Texas, to the NFL. What was that transition like for you? And, just share a little bit about that.
I mean, it was a really easy transition, for me, going to a big program like Texas and making sure that, I was at, a high level at Texas and playing high-level competition. That was the coolest thing for me, because when I got to the NFL, it wasn't nothing that surprised me. I mean, guys were just a little faster, a little bit more better, a little bit more smarter, but I was used to that level of competition in college, and I got prepared for that. So it was a great transition. Obviously, I had to still let it slow down a little bit, but when it did, it did pretty fast.
SEC
awesome.
now.
SEC now. I know.
Is that hard for you, or you dig it? Or
I do. I mean, I like it because I get to talk smack to all the guys in the locker room that played in the SEC and in the Big 12.
Oh, you got both.
So I got both.
See, I'm a Mizzou
You got
guy.
the best of both worlds,
Oh, really?
though, Bijan.
Okay.
You got the best of both worlds.
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
yeah.
And I take advantage of it.
Of course.
I do.
Really hoping Luther Burden. That we're hoping for Luther.
Oh, yeah.
We're for Mizzou.
For Kansas City?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Really hoping.
That'd be cool.
Before I let you go, were you surprised that Atlanta drafted you? Was that a little bit of a shock? I don't know how that process went down for you.
Yeah.
Tyler Algier had such a great season the year prior, still doing a really nice job in Atlanta with you. That tandem's just ridiculous.
Yeah, no doubt.
Unfair. But
doubt.
were you surprised, Atlanta, they already got a guy?
No, I mean, I wasn't surprised. I knew what their plan was, and I knew their plan. Obviously, he had an exceptional season the year before, and I think what they wanted to do was and what they're still doing is, putting me more so at running back, but at receiver, at slot. I'm just more of just being more of a dynamic guy, all over the field, and then, Tyler being that running back and still being that dynamic running back. How we can play off each other and, how we can just really run the ball or pass the ball to one of us. It doesn't matter. So that was their whole purpose of it. It wasn't trying to get a running back and a running back. They wanted, two guys that have two different skill sets and that can do a lot of different things that me and him can do. And I mean, now that we're seeing it now that was always the goal all along.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Bijan Robinson, again, shout out to Visa Small Business Clubhouse presented by Chase Inc. Bijan, really appreciate it, man.
Man, appreciate you guys. Absolutely.
Appreciate you being on today, Bijan.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Man, appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Have a great season. Our Falcons guy was supposed to be here today. He couldn't make it, so he's bummed, man. I'll tell him I will.
Thank you, Bijan. See you.
Good job, Malcolm.
Good job, Sterling.
That was a nice one right there.
That was nice having Bijan Robinson on. That was cool.
Great guy, Bijan. That was a lot of fun.
That was great. I loved how he talked about the transition, from playing at at UT Austin, to the NFL. I loved his response, how he said, it was easy, it was very easy for him. Transitioning.
Well, and because, as you mentioned, playing from such a high-profile school, it is funny, Texas now being in the SEC. But going to such a high-profile school to the NFL does help, which makes me wonder, Ashton Genty, Boise State, Cam Scattaboo, Arizona State. The difference is those two guys seem almost bulletproof because Cam did it against Texas. Cam did it, against Texas in the college football playoffs.
Right.
See Ashton do it against Oregon when they played that first time around. Yeah, man, it's fun talking to these running backs as the market has somewhat shifted back in their favor.
Right. Whereas before, the running back market wasn't really in their favor.
Yeah, it was almost one of those situations where it was getting devalued.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Pretty cool to see it go back, and it looks like we might be getting on Emmitt Smith fairly shortly.
Yep.
Have you talked to Emmitt before?
Yes, I have. I talked to him last year, Sterling. He was wonderful to talk to last year, and I can't wait to share with him. Ask him about the Cowboys. Who's he think they should choose, in the first round, and things like that. We also got Rocsi Diaz coming on too, and Akbar Bijan. So now we
Nice.
got Rocsi Diaz joining us on Stacking the Box. How you doing today,
fellas.
Roxy?
Doing good. How are you guys?
Excellent.
Good. Nice to see you, Roxy.
Malcom, Roxy.
Nice to see
I
you.
like the outfit. I like the jacket.
I'm loving the
Yeah,
outfit.
you guys check this out. It's the official Super Bowl. Rebecca Minkoff, Aaron Andrews.
Wow.
Got this official little leather
wow.
jacket. It's the only one you can find
I'm
here.
impressed with this, with this jacket here
Thank
that you got on, Roxy.
Thank you.
I love how you're rocking it today.
I appreciate that. It's a little chilly in here, so you gotta stay warm. Gotta
See,
stay warm.
first day without a suit, and now I'm just getting shown up.
Yeah.
First day I got to fly back we got to leave here at noon, so I got to fly
wow.
back. Got to be comfy.
Gotta be comfy.
Gotta
I
be
like
comfy.
that though.
Thank
I
you.
like that. I
Just
like that a
little,
lot.
Little golf.
Yeah, I
action.
like that a lot.
Thank you, Roxy.
Oh, Roxy, you were on 106 and Park on BET.
I was.
You've done a lot of philanthropic work,
Yeah.
and you're an advocate for health and wellness. So my first question for you is, how did you land the role of co-host on 106 and Park, and what was the experience like?
Oh man, first of all, that was like the best job in the whole entire world. It was literally like a concert every single day, and there's nothing like doing, you guys know, like having a live audience in front of you. It's just a different energy, right?
Yeah.
But I did a mass cattle call audition, kind of like, America's Got Talent.
Right.
It was like, who wants to be a VJ? That's what they
awesome.
did.
Awesome.
And they saw over 10,000 people in the country for that job, and they picked 2 people, and it was myself and Terrence J. So, 2 out of 10,000 is not that bad.
That's damn good.
That's
pretty damn
good.
good, right? I
Yeah.
think it's pretty
That's
damn
pretty
good.
amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
So,
yeah.
Of course.
You moved to New Orleans fairly early on, right?
Yeah, I was 2 years old when I came to the United States, and
Nice.
the first place that we came here was New Orleans.
How long were you here for?
Everything, my high school,
Nice.
first years of college was here in New Orleans. First kiss was here in New
Oh,
Orleans.
wow.
First
yes.
boyfriend. So,
Bourbon
no,
Street.
yeah.
Bourbon Street.
No, it didn't happen on Bourbon Street. no,
Jackson
definitely didn't.
Square, maybe?
Yeah,
French
no,
Quarter?
but I'll tell you something really cool.
Yeah.
My prom was actually in the Superdome. That's what the high schools
Really?
used to do back in the day. Yeah, they used to
Wow.
combine the suites, and that's where the proms for a lot of high schools were, in the Superdome.
So you're familiar with the Superdome then?
I am very familiar with the Superdome. I actually was here covering for another outlet when we had Beyonce do the Super Bowl halftime show, and I was down in the tunnels when the lights went out.
Wow.
Craziest experience ever.
Ravens and 49ers.
That was Ravens and 49ers, exactly.
Yes.
And the Ravens won that year. So
Yes.
it was really cool. I got to get Ray Lewis to do the dance with me on TV.
And-
I was like the
That's
only person that got him to loosen up a little bit, because you know how Ray is. He's very uptight
And
sometimes.
Jacoby Jones with the
Yes,
with that kickoff return touchdown.
Yes, God rest his soul, Jacoby Jones.
Oh, my
Love him.
goodness.
Yeah.
When the
So-
lights went out,
Yes.
what was going through your guys' head?
I was like, oh.
I
I didn't know what happened. It was like really everybody was running around with flashlights, the flashlights on their phone. You really didn't know what happened. And all of a sudden a golf cart passes by, and it's like Beyonce. I swear I could smell her hairspray as she ran by. And so
Follow
it was
the-
like.
follow the hairspray.
Exactly.
Follow the
Follow the
hairspray,
hairspray. But it was like nuts. And everybody kind of got freaked out because it was pitch black in the tunnels inside of the Superdome. So it was insane. But, the lights came back on, and then Ravens won.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, love it, Roxy. I read that you are an advocate for health, wellness, and fitness.
Mm-hmm.
As athletes, I need to make sure I'm at the top of my game, both physically and mentally. Do you have tips that you can share on how you prioritize your health?
I make sure that I try to do it every day at the same time. I'm a morning workout girl. I don't know about you guys. I
No.
can't do the
I
afternoon
am.
thing. You're a morning person too?
Yes, I
You're an
am.
afternoon guy?
Afternoon, yeah.
I can't do that. After my day, I'm tired. Like, I'm ready to just, like,
What's a
binge
workout?
watch something. So I can't do that. I can't.
I like
but-
to, my workouts are like mid-morning, mid-afternoon. I like to do, like weights and, and bench
Yeah.
presses, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I got my favorite Pilates instructor. I have my favorite Pilates class. I got my favorite things that I like to do. So in the morning, it's like I'm consistent in trying to do it in the morning. And I think that's just like the best way to start is just try to like say, okay, at this time, every single day, this is what I'm going to dedicate to make myself better. I try to stay away from the social media until like 3 hours after I'm already up for the day. I know it's challenging, especially in our business, because we want to see what happened the night before, who got
Right.
messed up, what happened in a trade or something
Yeah.
like that. But, that's what I try to do. I just try to keep it consistent.
Roxy, before we let you go, who wins? Eagles, Chiefs.
I'm not going to lie. First of all, I'm from New Orleans. I'm a Saints girl all day
course,
long.
of
So
course.
we know about being the underdog. So I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles on this one. I kind of want to see Jalen Hurts. I want this for Saquon so bad. And I'm just Kansas City Chiefs out right now. It's a little too much for me. I'm a little overwhelmed. I'm over them. I mean, no shade to them. I mean, I think Patrick Mahomes is an amazing quarterback. I think he's going to go on and be one of the greatest of all times. I think that, him and Tom Brady should really have conversations about what records that he may be breaking for him.
Right.
But it's just too. I'm just Kelsey'd out. I'm Mahomes out. I'm Taylor Swift out. I want to see Jalen do his thing and Saquon. I really want it for Saquon.
Rocsi Diaz is 90% of America right now.
Thank you.
They're tired of the Kelce's.
They're overwhelmed. Yeah, I'm exhausted. It's enough.
Rocsi, appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much.
Pleasure having you on today, Rocsi.
Thank you for having me, guys.
You're welcome.
I think most of America right now is about tired of Kelsey, Mahomes, and the Chiefs and the domination
I get it.
that they have put.
I get it. I get 90% of the nation, but it's like I've said all week, Sterling. We have to witness greatness when you see it.
You have to witness greatness.
Yeah, and we're witnessing greatness, and I don't think it's gonna happen again after our lifetime. So we gotta just enjoy it.
You just enjoy everything, Malcolm.
Exactly.
That's the key. That's the key.
It's all about enjoying the process, Sterling. Absolutely right.
Looks like we're going to have Emmitt Smith coming up here in just a little bit, right?
Right.
Come on, Hall of Famer, baby.
Yeah,
Get excited for
Famer.
Emmitt.
I'm excited for him.
Always
it's
a
always
good time.
a treat to talk to Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith. I mean, I love talking to him, just about him being a running back, his transition from the University of Florida, to the NFL, always asking him like what was that process like for him?
And what's so fun with Emmitt is we talk all the time about how the NFL is cyclical, right?
Yeah.
How the running back position is cyclical, and you're seeing the running back market start to come back, and he was almost on the forefront of calling that out. So it's always exciting. As
Emmitt Smith is coming right now. How you doing, Emmett?
What's up, Emmitt? How you doing, man?
How y'all doing, man?
Excellent.
Doing great.
Emmett.
Let's
Doing
do it.
Great. Let's
Hey,
do it.
and you're still rocking it, baby, with Narcan and Emergent and
hell
Ready to Rescue program.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know
yes,
it's
sir.
something that you believe in and something that you care about for a few years now. How long have you actually been doing this
I've
with
been
them?
working with Emergent and Narcan for the last 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
And so it is something that you believe in. I like doing things that I do believe in.
Yes.
It makes it easier to talk about because when you have an experience with something, you really want to talk about the experience that you've had.
Right.
And then you get a chance to own it
Yep.
because it's your experience. And no one else has that. Other people may have something similar,
Right.
but it is your experience. And so with Narcan nasal spray, continuing to spread the word around and awareness around opioid overdoses, that's really what we're trying to get accomplished. We want people to understand that this fight is not over.
Right.
Yeah.
We have people dying every day from opioid overdoses. And so whether it's fentanyl and all those other kind of things, we want people to as we say, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Right.
So you never seen the dog stretch before it took off running. The dog was already ready to go. And so that's the way it is when it comes down to having this in your gym bag or in your car, in your home. You got safety features in your home.
Yeah.
Right.
Why not add that to the mix?
Love that.
Oh, I love it, Emmitt. You follow the Cowboys. There have been a lot of controversy over the Cowboys' potential first round draft pick. Who do you think they should choose?
Well, I'm gonna start with what that. It depends on what the Cowboys are willing to commit themselves to.
Right.
I don't know the direction. I don't know the commitment. I don't know what the thought is. I don't even know what type of offense we're gonna run. I don't know whether or not we have the right personnel for the offense that they want to run.
Right.
So the question becomes, what are we going to do? People want to talk about Ashton Genty as if he's the savior for the offense or for the Cowboys.
Right.
Reality of the fact is you don't know that yet.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what the game plans are, what the intentions are. If you're going to come in with an offense and you want to draft Ashton Genty, do you have the right offensive line and the right scheme for Ashton Genty?
Right.
If you know that, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
Then the next thing is, do you have the right personnel to help him be successful?
Right.
Well, if you don't have that, then you got to get that. So how you going to get it when your salary cap strapped?
Yes.
So those are issues. To resolve those issues, I say, well, is Ashton Genty your guy or is he not? Do you have bigger needs and bigger holes to fill?
Right.
Especially if you want to win soon.
Yes.
Yes.
So if the answer is yes, is he the right choice? So you have to go through that whole entire process to come up with that answer. I'm not saying that he will not help the Cowboys. I'm just trying to figure out how much the Cowboys are going to help him.
Right. That's
So
true.
you and I have talked about this for the past couple years now. Every time Radio Row comes around, and I love this because you are on the forefront of talking about how the running back position is cyclical. Right? We've talked about how running back was the king of the NFL. That position was number one, and then some analytics came in, and people try to pay other positions, and running back went by the wayside. But then you see what Saquon did this year. You saw what Derrick Henry did first year at his age, especially in Baltimore. You saw Josh Jacobs. You saw what Bijan Robinson did. First round, eighth overall draft pick. Emmitt, you've been talking about this for a while now. How does it feel to be on the forefront of the cyclical talk on the running back position?
I'm going to say this. All analytics can have its own biases depending upon who's implementing the analytics and the data set that you're pulling it from. Technology can also lend to biasness, depends on
Right.
where the data set is coming from,
Right.
and the data and the inputs that you put into it.
Right.
So you can talk all the analytics you want. I've seen a guy go for a fourth down a lot of times and didn't get it. Analytics say you should do it,
Right.
but no one talks about that.
Yes.
You only want to talk about the good things about analytics, but not the bad things around analytics.
Right.
The way I see it is human knowledge also is important. Humans see the game and feel the game. The analytics can't see nor feel. Analytics can only get data sets. But when you see momentum and you see certain things that are taking place on the football field, you lean towards those things that are working. For example, we going into halftime in Super Bowl 28 against the Buffalo Bills, and they had momentum.
Right.
And we going in down 13-6. We have to change directions. We come back out, there's a commitment to go run the football. Commitment. At halftime, they already talking about, we're going to come out, we're going to run the football. We come out, we kick off the Buffalo. They fumble. James Washington picks it up and returns it for a touchdown. Analytics didn't say that they were going to fumble. Analytics didn't say James was going to return it for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Let alone analytics didn't even know we were going to come out and run the football and run it 7 straight times.
Right.
And analytics didn't have a damn clue I was going to score a touchdown from 20-some yards. So, but momentum led us to do these things.
Right.
And led us to keep going. So don't talk to me about analytics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know analytics can talk about, well, we kick a field goal from this area. That's fine. Analytics say you have a percentage of getting it on fourth down, unless you got the push tush.
Yeah.
And even that guy stopped a couple times.
Right.
So let's be reasonable, level-headed thinking, and dictate the analytics a little bit more versus analytics trying to drive everything, because it doesn't drive everything. It doesn't drive your play calling at all. So if it doesn't drive your play calls, why are we leaning on analytics in critical time when you already know that the momentum of the game is shifted? And the one thing I need to do for my team that's driving the field,
Yep.
getting stopped, but we in field goal range,
Yep.
I shouldn't be going for it to stop the momentum. At least we need to walk away with some points so we can have some level of confidence when we come back later on. I want to reward you for that kind of work.
Right. So lastly, before we let you go, Chiefs and Eagles on Sunday. Who do you got winning, and who do you have as MVP for both teams?
Well, shoot, there's only going to be one MVP for the Chiefs, and that's Patrick Mahomes. But for the Eagles, it could be Jalen Hurts, it could be
Saquon?
It could be Saquon Barkley, it could be one of the wide receivers. It could be any of the three. And so, but the winning, I'm going with the Eagles. All because I'm an NFC guy and I'm an NFC East guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and
The Cowboy going with the Eagles.
yeah, I got to. Got to.
Emmitt Smith, again, all your great work with Narcan and Emergent. We appreciate it. I know we have to let you go.
Thank you, guys.
We've been getting this sign from.
I understand. I talk too much.
I enjoy it. I always
I
enjoy
enjoy
our
it.
conversations.
It was an honor having you on today, Emmitt.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Y'all be good.
Thanks, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Emmitt.
it.
Appreciate it.
We saw the Cowboys Hall of Famer, Cowboys legend, going with the Eagles. I did not see that one coming.
I didn't see that one coming. I would have thought he would have won with the Chiefs. That's what I thought, but it took me by surprise too.
I thought I get it. He goes NFC East, wants to keep it in house.
Right, I get it.
Keep in the NFC East, but all those battles back in the day.
Yeah, I could.
I guess when you're always coming out on top of the battles, you don't care as much anymore.
I could see where Emmitt was going with that, Sterling as well. So credit to him, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's surprising though, because I'm never going to root for Denver. I'm never going to root for the Raiders.
Yeah.
I don't care about the Chargers because they don't really factor in as much.
Well, you don't have to worry about Chargers. They're in your division, but they're not really gonna wow you.
No. Emmitt Smith, though, always a lot of fun talking about that, especially when it comes to the running back market, analytics. Again, as a running back, especially, I love he's the one taking the hits.
Yeah.
And I've longest time, I've talked about.
Right.
Momentum is real.
Yeah.
If you've played sports, Malcom, you played sports at the time, momentum is real.
It is.
There is no quantifiable way to determine the factor of momentum.
Or the outcome of the game, too.
Yeah.
Every, momentum, any sport you play, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, momentum, is real, and it's all about, making the key plays, not making the critical mistakes when it matters most.
Yeah.
And not succumbing to the pressure when it matters most. You can either crumble under the pressure or you'll be able to rise above the pressure as a competitor.
Yeah. When it comes down to it, what's your score prediction in this game? We've gotten so many people picking the Eagles, and a lot of times they're going, we're going with the underdog. We're going with the Eagles. Well, if everyone's picking the Eagles, are they really underdogs?
They're not necessarily underdogs to me. I mean, I get it. Everybody, everybody in the nation is saying the Eagles are underdogs, but to me, they're not underdogs. Honestly, the Chiefs are favored to win this game, and Sterling, to answer your question, my score is going to be Chiefs 34, Eagles 31. It's going to be a game-winning field goal by Harrison Butker, and at the end, when the Eagles are driving for the game-tying field goal or the game-winning touchdown, the Chiefs defense is going to make a big play.
I like that.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
I like that happening. So you got a high-scoring game then?
Yeah, I do. It's going to be high-scoring.
Let's see what the line is at overall. Let me see what Chiefs are 1-point favorites. It's basically a pick'em game here,
Yeah,
Malcom.
it's a pick'em. I want to ask you for your prediction. How do you see it? And what do you think the score? What do you think the score is going to be?
That's a good call. I like the Chiefs. 48.5. I'll go 20. I'll go 20. You know what? I'll do it. I'll go 31 for Kansas City.
Yeah.
27.
You're going 31-27.
No. I'll go 31-26.
31-26 Chiefs.
31-26 Chiefs.
And who do you have as MVP? And who do you, non-quarterback for Kansas City? If it's not Mahomes, then who do you have?
Oh, if it's not Mahomes, I don't know, man. Mahomes, I think it would have to be defensively.
Yeah.
It would have to be, I think, like a Chris Jones or maybe Karlaftis keeps his.
You know who I think would be MVP if it's not Mahomes? I'm gonna go with a surprise here. I'm gonna go either Juju Smith-Schuster or I'm gonna go with Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's so hard because Mahomes spreads the ball around so much.
Right.
He very rarely focuses in and targets one guy.
Right.
So I think offensively, I like it, but I think it's difficult. For me, I think defensively, if it's not Mahomes, that's the guys you're looking at, and I think it'd probably be a Karlaftis or a Chris Jones.
Or Travis Kelce for that matter. Because Travis Kelce's going to have to play big. He's going to have to play the biggest game. He's going to have to play the biggest game of his life in the big game in order for the Chiefs to win. And if he's not clutch, then Patrick Mahomes is going to have to find other ways to win.
Well, in fairness, Kelsey's always clutch.
Right. That's what I mean. But I'm saying if the Eagles find a way to like double team him or try to like eliminate him or try to neutralize him, then Patrick Mahomes is going to have to find other ways to win, like other guys other guys will have to step up, like Pacheco will have to step up. Xavier Worthy's going to have to step up. Smith-Schuster's going to have to step up. I mean, it's not going to be one guy, but everybody has to step up.
Yeah. Does it look like Rodney McLeod's coming? We don't think so? Okay. So no Rodney. Bummer. He helped me drink a beer in Philly at City Hall. Rodney McLeod did that. With one of those big stops he had, allowed the Eagles to win, allowed me to go to City Hall, have an ICB. I owe that to Rodney.
Right. Hey, Hunter, I would love to add, Hunter, what's, I want to ask you for your thoughts. Oh, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Malcolm, I like Malcolm asking Hunter his thoughts and just.
Yeah, I want to ask for your thoughts.
And then it's just out in the ether,
yeah,
right? You like that? You like the thought process?
Yeah, I like the thought process.
I think it's a pretty good thought process.
Yeah,
Malcolm.
it is.
You know what?
It is.
I like your ability to just get people involved.
Yeah, Hunter. What's your thoughts on the game on Sunday? Who do you think, first I want to know who what the score is going to be, and I want to know who's your MVP going to be.
So I'll give it to you this way. I'll give you the way the Eagles win, the way the Chiefs win.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Eagles got to have a huge first half.
Uh-huh.
Be up by 14 to 20 points at halftime. And then kill time, run the ball, keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands as much as possible in the second half and control the clock.
Do you see that happening?
That's the way they win, I think. I think if it's a close game and it comes down to the last plays, I think we've all seen the script before and know how it's going to end.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll give you a...
He's a 49ers fan, everyone, so he's very cynical.
Yeah.
I picked the Chiefs last year.
No, cynical in a close game that they're going to win the game.
In a close game, no less, Hunter, of course.
I'll give you... I'm gonna take the under and go 17-13 Chiefs. I think it's gonna be boring.
You think so? You think it's gonna be a defensive struggle? You think?
I think it's gonna be a very hard physical game, and I would be shocked if both teams got over 20 points. Honestly, yeah, I think.
Do you see a team turning it over first? That's going to cost them the Super Bowl in general. Or
I don't know. But turnovers are so random and hard to predict. I think it's just. I think it will be close near the end, and then I think the Chiefs are the best at game management, clock management at the end of games. Sirianni's been hit or miss with that at times. So I go with the QB and the coach that know how to handle things down the wire.
You're going with Mahomes and Andy Reid to win. To do what's never been done before, which is win 3 straight.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's you get to this game for going for the third one. How can you not pick the team that just won the 2 last ones?
Right.
So I will give the Eagles this. They are not happy to be here. Most of these guys were here a couple years ago. Some of these guys were here when they won it back in the Nick Foles era, like Lane Johnson, a few of those guys. So
Brandon Graham,
this is a very experienced team that's familiar with the Chiefs, and they're going to come ready to play. So again, I think I wouldn't be shocked if the Eagles come out of the gates on fire and have a really good first half game plan. And it's just, can the Chiefs keep them in range and keep them in check long enough?
And that's what the Chiefs traditionally have done, at least recently, is they give up that first scoring drive. Drive they score. I know myself, a lot of Chiefs fans. I'm more calm than most. A lot of Chiefs fans are that first drive. They hit the panic button, even still. But you shouldn't, because to me it's like a boxer.
Right.
Well, I'm a Warriors fan, so I'm used to a lot of runs and people being down in the first half and being like, I don't even care right now. It doesn't even matter.
It does not matter because the Chiefs, to me,
28-3, right, Ian? You can come back from 28-3 in the Super Bowl. It's possible. So that's the range right there. If you're within 25 at halftime, you can still win.
Well, the Chiefs actually at one point were down 24-0, not in a Super Bowl, but in a playoff game against the Texans, and they won by 20.
40-point swing.
Less experienced team, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. No, I think it'll be a great game. I think the Chiefs. What's the biggest score differential the Chiefs have had in a game this season?
Oh,
on the winning side. I'm not thinking about Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was
probably the Saints game?
Right. It's been most games less than 10.
I'd say 13. Let me go ahead and just pull it up because it's very simple. As long as the washing machine doesn't take too long.
And while we're at it, Malcolm, can you teach Sterling how to say our next guest's name?
Akbar Bijan. Sterling.
Akbar Bijan.
Yep. Akbar Bijan. That's how we say the next.
It looks like there's more syllables than there are.
Yeah.
Steelers. I guess that Steelers playoff game. No. Not playoff game. The Steelers.
Towards the end of the year when the Steelers turned into frauds.
Yeah, 29-10.
Yeah, that Christmas Day game.
29-10.
So, look out for this guy.
Whom? Ian?
Ian?
Stay away from me, dog. You're sick. Why are you down here? Sequester yourself. Okay?
Ian, a lot of fluids.
The Super Bowl viruses are rampant.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to wash your hands. Maybe do more fist bumps instead of handshakes.
Yeah.
When did this
And
conversation?
look out for that guy.
Yeah.
Sean, by the way, Sean's and Eagles, we're talking off air now because this show has gone off the rails.
Right.
We have Hunter on. The fact that we have Hunter on should tell you
shows
all you
how
need to know.
shows how rampant the schedule's getting this morning.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite things is Emmitt Smith.
Yeah.
What did Emmitt Smith say? Who was
Let's
going to
bring on
win?
Brian
And
Westbrook
who's he
right
rooting
now.
for?
Brian Westbrook is coming on, Sterling.
Eagles. I know. Incredible.
Villanova product as well in college.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Villanova Wildcats. How you doing, Brian?
Good. How are you?
Great.
Uh-oh.
Sterling.
Appreciate you coming on today. It's an honor and a privilege. Absolutely.
I know you're obviously here today with the NFL alumni and an important Gear Up campaign.
Yes.
Can you talk a bit more about this as we start here?
Well, I'm here with the #1 pets retailer in the world,
Yeah,
Chewy,
baby.
right? And they've done a great job of taking care of my pets. I got 3 dogs and 10 horses. I have a whole horse farm, and so we're super excited about them. But, you know, the one thing that I love, really, when I think about Chewy is that the quality food, that gets you the food on time. But they also give back, right? And this year they're going to give 59,000 pounds of food to the Kansas City Pet Project as well as the Pennsylvania SPCA, right? And so now you're talking about not only do they get you the food on time, but they're also being helpful and giving out so much food for so many animals that actually are in need. And so we're super excited about it.
Yeah, Chewy's a great company,
Great
great
company.
organization.
Absolutely.
My dog loves all the stuff there. So
Oh, yeah.
I have a little 30-pound dog. I don't have 10 horses now.
That's a lot of work. I'm trying to tell you, horses are a lot of
30
dog
pound,
work.
one 30-pound dog is enough
That's
for me.
enough, right? Yeah, I got 2 French bulldogs and then a Belgian Malinois. That's absolutely nuts. So,
Yeah.
And you have 10 horses, correct?
10 horses, yeah. So I have a horse farm. I bought a horse farm back in 2005, and so we used to have 30 horses there.
Wow.
Now only 10. So,
Wow.
Yeah, it's good.
I gotta ask you, Brian. You must be excited to see your Eagles in the Super Bowl. Coach Andy Reid drafted you in the 3rd round. What emotions are going through your head right now for Sunday?
Well, I'm super excited. I'm glad that my team, who's been playing well over the last few years, are back in this game. I mean, just to kind of think about it, 2017 happened, boom, win a Super Bowl. Now you kind of expect it to happen all the time.
Right.
And it hadn't. It didn't. And then a couple years ago, they were in the big game out in Arizona. And so just a great opportunity. I'm happy for our team. I'm happy that Howie Roseman has put the team together that can be consistently relevant.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things and most important things in the NFL.
How do you think Howie's been able to build that? Because, I mean, you look at this matchup, and one of the biggest takeaways I have, and I don't know if enough people have been talking about it, is the job the GMs have done. Because I think everyone agrees that, you know, Brett Veach for Kansas City and Howie Roseman, those are the best 2 GMs in football.
Yep.
And they find a lot of times a way to get production throughout the entire draft, right? How do you think those 2 guys in particular have stood out?
Well, what they have done is, you know, in the draft, they've hit first 3 to 4 rounds every single year for the last 5-6 years. And if you do that, then you got to – but, you know, how do you do that? How do you find the right people? Everyone wants to hit you know, Howie finds, #1, character people that are smart, really good character. Same kind of thing that Bill Belichick did up there in New England. But then he has to fit the scheme. And he's done a great job of understanding the scheme and then finding guys that can fit. And then these young guys have come out and played very well. And so when you look at the defensive line, you're talking about a big physical group coming from the SEC from down there from Georgia. But they came in and played well early on in their career. That's what you need if you want to have a good team. And so Howie's just done a great job of it. And Brett's done a great job as well. Actually, when I think about it, I played against Brett Veach when I was in college.
Really?
Yes,
At Villanova.
He went to University of Delaware. And we played him. I mean, he was a really good player as well. So
He was.
He was a good player. Yep.
Oh, Brian, I love this question. I want to ask you. What was the defining moment of your career with the Eagles?
I don't know that you ever have one defining moment in any career. I just think that you have a bunch of moments that all come together that really define a career. I think, the punt return I had against the Giants had a lot of impact and a big moment in my career.
Yeah.
I think just making the playoffs consistently, playing in the NFC Championship games that we played in, also being able to compete against the best team of our era, the Patriots in the Super Bowl. 3-4 turnovers in that game. We lost by 3 points. Should have won the doggone game, really. Yeah. But I think over the course of my career, I think back to some of those moments that really have meant the most to me.
Awesome.
Yeah. You have become synonymous with Philadelphia. Like that is part of who you are.
Yeah.
You're part of Philly. I lived in Philly for 3 years, and I'm a Chiefs guy.
Okay.
Over those 3 years, they won the Super Bowl that year over the Patriots. So I was pretty excited about
needed that. That's right.
See, maybe I'm the good luck. Then I moved back to KC. What happened?
Well,
they won it.
Well, we need you to move back to Philly now.
That's what it seems like. But what is it like being so ingrained in the Philly culture, and what are those fans like?
Yeah. The Philly fans are the best fans in the world. They are passionate. Of course, they want their teams to win just like any other fans. They're knowledgeable.
Right.
And it's 365. There's never an off day in Philadelphia when you're talking about football. They have people that want to talk about football day in and day out. That's why the sports radio in Philadelphia has been so good. And so you feel the love. As a former player, you feel the love. I went to school right outside of Philadelphia, and so I felt the love for a very long time. And I was super excited to be drafted by the Eagles. But even now, our fans that can remember plays from 25 years ago when I was playing. Yeah. That's just crazy to me. Especially with all the crazy things, the good things that are going on now. They still are remembering those things. And so that's just what they are. They're a passionate fan base that wants the team to win.
Yeah.
Great, Brian. You were known for being a versatile running back, balancing both rushing and receiving duties. How did you develop that skill set, and what was the biggest challenge in mastering both?
Yeah, so the one great thing about me going to Villanova, now there was a lot of negative things because you're going to a smaller school, especially you're trying to make it to the NFL.
Right.
You're too small and your school is too small. Okay, right. But one of the great things was that while there, I was able to develop the skill to catch the ball out of the backfield and understand coverages, right? And so when I came into the NFL, they're not teaching you a lot of that stuff. They want you to be able to do it already. And so I was able to do a lot of the things that other running backs at these bigger schools just didn't have to do. They already had All-American receiver. They had All-American tight ends. So for us, they wanted me to be a receiver, the running back, and so I had to learn and understand those things, and it's really paid off throughout my career.
Well, it's a good call because you're looking at Ashton Genty in Boise State. He is the offense.
Yes.
And then you're looking at Cam Scadaboo at Arizona State. He is the offense.
Yep.
If those guys go to Georgia, they might not get the same opportunity. That's pretty interesting right there. Andy Reid. Obviously, we love Andy here in Kansas City. We always thank the Eagles for thank you.
Handed you a Hall of Fame coach, right?
But were you ever and that kind of goes to the passion that Philly fans do have. But did you know he was going to become this version of Andy Reid? Did you know, because that was the knock, was obviously great head coach, but can he get over the hump?
Well, I always knew that he was a great head coach, and I always knew that he had capability of doing this, but you have to have the right pieces, right? And a big part of that is Patrick Mahomes. You have that guy underneath center, that changes things for everybody. And so I knew he had the potential. I knew that he had the game plans and mindset to get people involved and everything like that. But until you put it together with the right quarterback, it never really makes sense. And when you do, then it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, Brian, I want to ask you about Sunday's game with the Eagles and Chiefs. Who do you think wins, and who do you see as MVP?
I think the Eagles win. I think because they have I hope they win, right? I think they have a better offensive line and defensive line. I mean, even though the Chiefs are really good on both sides of the ball, I think the offensive line rules the day, and I think Saquon has a big game.
Yeah.
And he'll be the MVP.
Brian Westbrook, really appreciate it. Also, shout out Chewy. If you've not checked out Chewy and you have a pet, if you have a dog, make sure you go to Chewy because they do have just phenomenal products.
Thank you for joining us today, Brian. Honor and privilege, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Appreciate you, man.
Take care.
You too.
Ryan Westbrook right there. A lot of fun talking with him. Just an
that
Eagles
was dynamic,
legend,
just
man.
talking to him, you know.
You surprised he picked the Eagles?
I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised.
No, I don't. You shouldn't be surprised.
It's
we got Jaden Daniels signed.
Jaden Daniels.
Right pretty fun right there.
We got Akbar on the set coming.
Oh man,
this
is your guy.
Yeah, this is my guy right here, man. I interviewed him last year, and I'm interviewing again this year.
This was one of your favorite ones last year, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
All right, Akbar, thank you for joining us here at Stacking the Box.
What's up?
Good to see you again, man. Pleasure.
Good to see you, too.
Malcolm talked about this. He goes, this is one of my favorite interviews last year.
Yeah, you were my favorite interview last year.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Akbar Bijan
Bijan.
You lied to me, Malcolm. I think you lied to me.
No,
I'm kidding.
It's all good.
I'm not going to throw
It's all good, Malcolm. Yeah, it's all good. You know, I tell you, man, this is a special time of the year. It's so cool to see the guys. You know, it feels like a reunion when you get to see some of the guys that, you know, that I played with or during that time. You know, I'm looking at young stars like Jaden Daniels over here, a guy who I've absolutely loved watching play this year. You know, it's just been special. I had a really cool moment last night to be able to spend some time with Antonio Gates, my former teammate when I was with the Chargers. And I got to tell you, man, just to celebrate with him, but to see, you know, what that means. This is now the third guy that I've played with that I've, you know, really close with to go into the Hall of Fame. Tim Brown, who's a mentor, Charles Woodson, who's a good friend, and now to see Antonio Gates. And then also actually fourth, LaDainian Tomlinson as well. Yeah. And to see what that means to him. Sometimes you see it from afar, and you think, oh, maybe that wasn't, you know, of course you were a baller. Of course you knew you were going to get it. But you really don't know. Like, you really have no idea because it's out of your control. It's the one time that you go, like, I did everything I could on the field. Me getting into the Hall of Fame is out of my control. And Antonio Gates was just overwhelmed with the love. I walked up on him, you know, snuck behind him, and literally I just saw his phone as he was trying to respond to everybody's text message. He didn't get back to me, but I was there in person. But I looked and I go, oh, I know why. I'm like, dang, man, you got like 100 text messages. So, yeah.
I do want to give a huge shout-out first and foremost to Experian.
Yes.
Because if you need some financial health help, if you want to keep more money in your pockets, it's Experian. That's the place.
Yes, it is. You know, I've been talking about Experian Boost for a long time. I've been partnered with Experian for 6 years. And, you know, there's the Experian Boost where you get an opportunity to take and report, you know, your bills like your utility bills, your streaming bills. You can report all of that to Experian to help to boost your credit.
Right.
But now there's this other element, especially now. This is the time of the year where everybody's still holding on to their New Year resolution, right? Well, Experian has this new feature that allows you to be able to go through and look at all of your subscription, and Experian will help to cancel those unwanted subscriptions. We all have them. Like, I don't know if people realize this, but on average, folks out there are spending about $1,000 a year on subscriptions and don't even know. You're like, $1,000 a year? Heck no, that's not me. It's not that hard. If you get 4 subscriptions at $20 a month and you're not paying attention to it, of course that's going to add up. And so now there's this new subscription and feature that Experian has that allows them to be able to go through and monitor what you have and to eliminate those that you're not using. I fall into this. You guys have probably done this, right? You see something cool like a new app or something, and you're like, oh, I love this. I need this. 30-day free trial, 7-day free trial.
Yes.
And you forget about it. You start using it, you forget about it, and before you know it, 7-8 months in, you're paying $140, $200, $300, and you're not paying attention to it.
Right.
Now, Experian gives you the ability to get the experience of getting your finances back in order so you can keep track of your New Year resolution.
Oh, Akbar, you've had a successful career in both professional football and television.
Yeah.
How do you think your sports background has shaped your approach to hosting and entertaining?
Well, I think it's just the ability to see things in live action. You know, football, sports, and even too getting in broadcasting and hosting. So much of that stuff is tied back to my sport days of being able to react in the moment and being present, but also the preparation. You can only react as fast as you're prepared.
Right.
And so many people don't realize sometimes if something happens to you, if you're not like stunt drivers, I've got a good friend who's a stunt driver in Hollywood, and I was like, man, how do you do that? They practice all of those moves, and in football, we practice all of those moves. So I think what happens when I'm in the moment and I'm seeing the guys who are performing, whether it's on Ninja Warrior or whatever, I'm watching football, I get a chance to just react. I'm prepared on what the moment's for, and I get to celebrate. That's something that I really genuinely love to do. I love to celebrate. I've been celebrating Jaden Daniels all year long.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
I'm still surprised he didn't go 1-1.
I'm surprised.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know.
Nothing against Caleb Williams. That's not what I was trying to do here. But he was just such a unique talent.
I think there was a different engine behind Caleb Williams. I think there was the USC hype. There's the LA factor. There's the media market, and there's this love that I think. Whether USC is up or down, there's this love that we have for USC. But Jaden Daniels, I think, is one of those things. And number 2 is no different to me than number 1. Who cares? That was just the number 1 title. But Jaden Daniels showed his worth, his value, and what he means to the Commanders organization. Is an outstanding talent that we're going to be talking about. And I don't think this is going to be one of those, talent that we're going to see, have a great rookie year and then dwindle out. And I'll tell you why. Those comebacks that he had this year showed me that this is built into his DNA, the fabric of who he is.
So, do you hate the Chiefs?
Do I hate the Chiefs?
Because Oakland, San Diego,
Denver,
every single person we've had on so far, they keep going, I'm going with the underdogs. I'm going with the Eagles. But if everyone picks the Eagles, and by the way, the Chiefs are only 1-point favorites right now. It's not like we're going out. They're not big underdogs here.
Yeah.
Which way are you leaning here? I didn't know because Emmitt Smith, for example, surprised me. Emmitt said, I'm going with the Eagles, and he's rooting for the Eagles. You play for the Cowboys. What?
I think here's what's happening right now. There's this massive overcorrection right now. I think that for the last couple of years, actually several years now, everybody's been Chiefs. And you get into this position where everyone's like, oh, well, it's unfair. We're now starting to get to the moment of the dynasty where you go from everybody loves you, everybody's like, wow, this is great, we love Andy Reid, to like, this is starting to get a little annoying. You guys are too good. Something has to be wrong. The refs might be into it. And now it's just like, well, you guys are not appreciating what the Eagles are doing. This massive overcorrection of trying to lean in on the Eagles. I love everything that the Eagles have done. I love that, they are a run-first team. I love that Nick Sirianni was able to make that correction very early on in the year, going from 2-2 and then going all the way through. But the one thing that separates these two teams is the ability to play well in situational football. And nobody does it better than the Kansas City Chiefs. And this is why I have the Kansas City Chiefs winning this game. There's no doubt about it. And I'll tell you another thing. So when you go into, game preparation mode, you get into this mode where you go into a scouting report. The coaches prepare all of this scouting report. Their scouting report is going to be all based on Andy Reid's offense. But there are two offenses that they run. There's the Andy Reid offense, and then there's the Patrick Mahomes offense. You're like, Akbar, what's the Patrick Mahomes offense? The Patrick Mahomes offense is when things break down, y'all, we playing schoolyard ball. We out there, and we're going to make things happen. And that's the thing that is very hard to defend because there is no data that says he's going to do this consistently. He doesn't do the same thing consistently. So that's where I look at this, and I got the Chiefs winning this game.
We got to let you go.
Akbar.
Yep.
Before we let you go, who do you see as the top 3 linebackers in the league right now?
Top 3 linebackers in the league. First I want to give some love to Zach Bond and what Zach Bond has done in this league. And then I also want to give love to, talking about this game, Nick Bolton, and what he did in the last Super Bowl and the play that he's played. He doesn't get his name yelled out a lot, and so I want to give those two guys, a lot of love right now. So those are 2 guys I'm going to go with right now.
And number 3, we're giving it to Experian Boost.
Yeah, Experian Boost. And go to Experian.com. Seriously, if you want to get your finances and get your credit in order and also get rid of all those unwanted subscriptions, go to Experian.com and get more information. All right, guys.
Akbar, appreciate you, man.
All right, Malcolm.
Honor to be It was an honor having you on today.
Thank you so much. I always appreciate my time here.
See you guys. Thank you.
Akbar.
See you, Akbar. Appreciate it, man.
Akbar.
And you know what that means?
Yeah.
He picked the Chiefs.
Yeah, he picked the Chiefs. That's right.
That's always a good call.
That's a good call.
Always
Always.
a good call.
Yeah, always.
Looks like up next we are going to be having up Will Anderson.
Will Anderson.
Good,
How you doing,
Will? How you doing?
Will? Pleasure to have you on today.
Hey, Will, how you doing? Good to see you. Remember me, huh?
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's the mustache, right? It's the mustache. Will Anderson, obviously one of my favorite sponsors too, by the way. Jif Peanut Butter. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Oh, come on. There you go. I'm gonna be rocking this today. Guaranteed.
Oh, I love it.
Crunchy or creamy?
Creamy.
You creamy?
Yeah.
You're a creamy kind of guy.
Yeah.
Oh, Malcom, man. Malcom.
I love it.
Oh.
I'm the same way when it comes to peanut butter too. I can't take crunchy. It's not my thing.
Oh, how you doing, Will?
I'm doing fantastic now.
Oh, man. Tell me a little bit more about this great partnership you have with Jif.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's actually on the healthier side, too. You know, over 1 billion people eat wings during the Super Bowl. So
Yeah.
I'm partnering up with Jif to save the celery, and we're going to save it by Jif's peanut butter.
I love that.
Love it.
By the way, the first time I talked to you, Will, was actually in Kansas City on draft night. And I left that and I said, this guy's going to be a stud. Whoever gets Will Anderson, they got a guy, they have a leader, they have a building block. And you have been that. When Houston traded up to get you, I know there's some people going, that's a lot to give up.
Yeah.
Look at where they're giving up. I go, they got it. And then after last year and this year, you've proven to be the cornerstone of that Houston defense. What's it feel like almost paying them back, be like, no, you made the right decision here?
Yeah. It was a little crazy because, you know, once I heard, I was like, you know, it's a lot of expectation and stuff like that, and they gave up this. But then when I sat in the office with Coach Ryans, he was just like, man, like, it's no expectation, man. You don't have to come in here and be a superhero. You don't have to come in here and do anything out of the ordinary. Just be Will Anderson, man. That's how we drafted you. Like, just come in here, have fun, man, and be yourself. And, of course, like, I put all my faith in God, and I was like, God, it's in your hands. Like, whatever you want me to do, I'm going to just surrender myself and let you, you know, handle it. And it's been going well so far.
Yeah.
So I got to keep going straight, man.
Yes. Oh, Will, I mean, who on the Texans roster had the biggest impact on the development so far this season? Like, you know, is there a player on the Texans that, you know, that had the biggest impact?
I would probably say Daniil Hunter. Daniil Hunter has been a really good guy for me. That's helping me a lot. The way he can just put things in the terminology and the way he practices, and I just try to implement a lot of stuff he does. He's really, like, consistent with getting to the quarterback and how he does it. And he'll go over to the side while offense is going and just work his hands and stuff like that. So that's one thing that I try to bring into my game.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, the entire defensive line of Houston is incredible, man.
Yes.
Daniil Hunter, obviously you, Danico Autry, Tim Settle.
Yep.
What's it like playing? It's almost like Bama all over again, right? Like,
it is.
Where you have so many guys, you actually have an ability at times to get one-on-ones.
Yeah.
What's that like for you right there?
Man, I would just start with off the field first. Like, those are, like, the best group of guys I've ever been around. I mean, a bunch of selfless guys, and, you know, they could have did anything, like, I got to get this number. When I heard that, bro, I don't care about this or that, bro. I just want to see you ball. And when that starts spreading throughout the whole room, everybody could be free and everybody could go play their best. And then to play with them on the field and to see them cause havoc, like, I say our defense wouldn't be anywhere without those interior guys, Tim Settle, Foley, Danico Autry, Mario Edwards. Like, those guys cause havoc in the middle for a lot of offenses, and they open up a lot of stuff for me and Daniil, the back end and stuff like that. So, man, it's a special group, and I hope we can all stay together.
Yeah.
Man, well, I would love to ask you, in the NFL, defenses are always evolving. How do you work on adapting your game to stay ahead of the curve?
Yeah, consistency. That's it, man. It's about what you do and doing it better. Like, I think that's one thing, like, just talking to some of the greats like Daniil, Myles Garrett, like all those guys, is like, you don't have to keep changing up. You don't need 50,000 moves. You don't need to go out there and, like, you just have to keep improving your game every year and making sure that you're getting better at exactly what you do. And so that's how you stay ahead of the curve and sacrificing more and more each year to get to where you want to be at.
The Tank Dell injury was just horrendous, man. Brutal, and we saw the emotion. Have you ever seen, like, because for us on the sideline, I mean, it was just so sad. Just see the emotion. C.J. Stroud. How long did that linger? I mean, just that sort of brotherhood, and you see one of your guys goes down.
Yeah.
We were all in awe that he was even able to still hold onto the football. Just the amount of – what was that like being on the field and seeing that happen in front of you?
Man, it was a really sad day for us, man. Tank is our brother, man, and he's been in so much hard work to get back from all the things that he had last year, man, and to see all the hard work that he's put in, to see him doing really well this year, to see that happen, it just took a toll on all of us. But I think afterward, we was like, bro, we just got to continue to do this for our brother. We know he would love to be out here, but we have this opportunity, like, let's go put on for Tank now.
Yeah.
Oh, Will, I would love to ask you, can you describe a moment where you faced adversity, whether it was on and off the field, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I would say this year was a lot of adversity, man. This year was like a year where, like, I just had to put all my faith in God and let him lead me for real. Like, I missed all of training camp, you know what I'm saying? And then I started being good. Then I got a high ankle sprain and still, got double-digit sacks, top 10. And I'm like, bro, like, God, I don't know what you're doing, but I trust you and I believe in you. But it was just so much adversity coming through, and I just had to, like, stop and really just sit down and be like, God, it's in your hands. So, like, that's really how my game is just trying to go. Like, man, like, I can be free, I can be at peace because I don't do it for anybody else but him. You know what I'm saying? So It's been great.
Will, I'm a KC guy. I'm from Kansas City.
I know.
By the way, I do think a lot of the post-game talk was some of the clips were taken out of context. I'm trying to tell people, but, fans, there are certain fans, they hear it and they're like, it fits my narrative, so it sounds like they're blaming the refs. I'm like, they're not.
And it wasn't on the refs at all. What was the intent of what I was saying was Coach Ryans had told us all week, like, the refs, they're going to call it. They're going to call it, and if we don't do it the right way, they're going to call it. It's a big-time game.
Yes.
And we have to do a better job of not putting ourselves in those positions because we know if we do, they're going to make the call.
Yeah.
Now, outside of the refereeing, we have to play better.
Yeah.
You can't give up those big explosives late in the game. We have to do a better job, not letting them put points on the board and driving down the field and stuff like that and just being mentally sound and executing better. Those are things that lost us the game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they took a lot of that stuff out of context and stuff because we never blamed the refs.
No.
Never blamed the refs. And as a captain, as a leader on this team, that's one thing that I always preach, like, it's on us.
Yeah.
We have to go out there and win this game. Like, it doesn't matter what nobody else is doing. We have to go out there and play and execute and play our brand of ball.
Right.
Just know, Will, I was in KC radio. I was making sure. I'm like, guys, this is out of context. I know a lot of people are gonna not run with this, but I'm trying to push back for you guys. I'm pushing back. I'm like, I know Will wouldn't do that. You guys do somewhat now have a rivalry with Kansas City a little bit. Obviously it's Bills, it's Ravens, it's Bengals. That Bengals-Chiefs one's pretty. But, the Texans are now getting into that class past 2 years. First year exceeding expectations last year, this year making it to the playoffs. Injuries obviously played a huge factor for you guys. But are you also almost team anti-KC now?
Man.
No. I'm not trying to get you in trouble. I'm just trying to say, like,
I root for everyone. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a hater. I'm not one of those players or nothing like that, man. This is what we all dreamed of as a kid, man.
Yeah.
To be in these moments, to go against these great guys like this, to play this game, the NFL, bro.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have good guys. That's why I tell people, bro. Like, that's why you're in the NFL, because it's good guys on every team, every roster.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I look forward to, and that's why I love the game so much, because it's a challenge every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love this question I want to ask you, Will. If you could choose 3 celebrities to be part of your all-star football team and they couldn't be on your team, who would you pick?
LeBron James.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who else? LeBron James. Oh, what's the Chandler Jones? That's the MMA.
Oh, yeah. John Bones Jones, yeah.
Who else? What's that one comedian's name? Y'all probably don't know him, but his name is Lavelle Crawford.
Lavelle Crawford.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we need some funny. We gotta have somebody funny on the team. We can't all be serious.
It's not you, Will?
It's not me.
Awesome, Will.
Was Nick Saban the funny guy back there in Bama? He telling
Nick Saban
jokes?
was actually a big joker. He was
Seriously?
a big joker. Yeah, he was. It was fun, man. Like, I love playing for Nick, man. Like, he'll have his little jokes here and there. I remember one time I got hurt, and they had me out for like a long time. We was on fourth quarter, and he looked at me and started laughing. He said, "How long is a low ankle sprain going to take for you to get back out here, Will Anderson?" He said, I could get one right now, and I still be out here running.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he will be.
I'm sure he would. I'm sure he would be.
He's
Will.
awesome, man.
It was awesome. Obviously, we're here. We're here in New Orleans. Chiefs and Eagles.
Yep.
I'd like to know. Who do you think is going to win? What do you think the score is going to be? And who's your MVP?
Yeah, I'm not rooting for any team, but I got my Bama guys. You know what I'm saying? But when I look at games like this, I always look at the trenches, and they have both really great defenses and offenses, and
Right.
Chiefs have a good offensive line. Eagles have a hell of a defensive line that I love watching. Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, I know all those guys from Georgia.
Yeah.
Jordan Davis, and they gel really well together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they're a physical front. They're going to knock you back. They get off blocks. They can get to the quarterback. So it's going to be a really good game. And, the Chiefs have a really good O-line. They've been playing together for a long time. So I'm excited to see the battle up front.
Just when it comes to Joe Thuney kicking out to left tackle,
Yeah.
was part of that somewhat hard on you guys because you don't have a whole bunch of tape on him at left tackle?
Yeah.
He's done it sporadically, but I don't know what that process is like trying to, roll tape and learn.
Yeah, no, it was actually really good because we had got just enough tape on him, and he went against some really good guys.
Yeah.
To see how he really plays. And I think he went against T.J. Watt. He went against Myles Garrett, Nick Benito.
We felt so bad. We were talking about, we're like, dude, we feel bad for Joe. He goes from guard to tackle. He's like, okay, now you got Watt.
But I have a ton of respect for him, though. And he held it down.
Yeah.
He most definitely held it down, man. He most definitely held it down, and that's why he's a Pro Bowler. That's why he's all pro, man. And it was a good matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to. Lastly, Will, I would love to ask you. Growing up, were there some role models or players you looked up to?
You want to know something? I would say my sisters. They all played sports, man. They played volleyball, track, basketball, softball. They did it all, and I actually took the girls' flag football team, and it just all these memories came back watching my sisters, prepare and watching them get ready for their games and how they did stuff. And, man, they instilled so much into me, my mindset. They drove me up and down the road, taking me to practice here and there, to camps, all this other stuff. But I got to see them grind. I got to see them work. I got to see them practice. And they were really hard workers. And so much of that sport, filled in, my game and who I am today.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Will Anderson, by the way, Jif is incredible. These Jif to-goes. Will, this is my lunch today, baby.
All right, come on now.
Peanut butter. Come on now. I love peanut butter, too,
Hey,
Will.
appreciate it, Will.
Appreciate you, Will.
Hey, thanks, man.
Appreciate it, Will.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on today.
Appreciate it.
It was an honor.
Hey, good luck next year.
Good luck, Will.
All right. Will Anderson.
Will Anderson, man.
Right there. I love Will. Such a great
what a way
guy.
to wrap up our interviews today, Sterling. That was amazing.
What a great time. All right, before we get out of here, I know we're wrapping this thing up right now.
Yeah.
Final score prediction. You were going
34-31 Chiefs.
And I'm going 31-26 Kansas City. Most of our guests chose the Eagles, but I guess we're bucking the trend here, Malcolm.
Yeah, we're going to buck the trend with the Chiefs.
So as we're wrapping up here on Radio Row, this was so much fun doing unified covering yet again. Year 2 for me, year 3 for you. Fan-sided in the Special Olympics for Malcolm. I am Sterling Holmes. We are out.